the best part of the trip. This is the trip, the best part.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Sarah. Happy birthday to you. And
You know,
Monty Python.
you know what's weird? As you did that, I hear a neighbor outside go, "Woo!" Thanks. It was
Yeah.
yesterday. Thank you very much for the gift. I appreciate it.
Congratulations. You are now 55 years
Uh,
younger than Joe Perry.
oh, okay. I think I'm right up there with my
Jonathan
knees.
Shaw got you an AK-47 with 38,000 rounds of ammunition.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
See, happy birthday, Sarah, says the Autobot from Seattle. You see, even in your birthday, it gets the Seattle people to get out of a melancholy.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. It was yesterday. Met with what's remaining of the family, as you get older. And we all went to Yugo's Pizza in Staten, Oregon for my big birthday. It was great.
That's a Tim Burton movie. Was it claymation and macabre, the pizza?
No, it had my pizza. Okay, you ready? This is gross. Some people would. I don't think it's gross. It's delicious. My mother ordered like 6 giant pizzas for the party. And of course, half my relatives just want free food, so they show up for that. But my pizza that I shared with my father, our favorite, it's like everything, including oysters, anchovies, sausage, all of your meats, your various meats and cheeses, peppers, jalapenos, delicious.
Is the crust saltine crackers
What do you mean? No,
outside of New York?
no, nice try, but
Yeah.
no, it's a thinner crust, which I like. You don't, but yeah, I'm not Italian, so I can eat a thin crust pizza.
No, I'm a Sicilian guy. I love big everything. Sicilian, Chicago pizza. Yeah, a lot of you broads do like that thin crust pizza. I just feel like it's not substantial enough.
I'd like to enjoy my toppings rather than trying to chew through an inch, thick slice of bread underneath the cheese.
Kathy Scott says happy birthday.
Thank you.
Hooper does. A Smith says happy birthday. Did anyone know? Jamie says happy birthday.
Thank you.
Lauren Marie says happy birthday. She is driving. Safe driving, Lauren. We will get you through it. Give us
Do
a
you
play-by-play. Go ahead.
Sorry, I apologize. Do you know that I forgot my birthday is such I don't care about my birthday. It's really another day. And people say that, but I really mean that. I had forgotten this week that my birthday was coming up. I get a phone call from my insurance agent saying, "Happy birthday, Sarah, from blah 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 at blah blah blah." I was like, "Oh, I guess it's my birthday."
Don't you get 3 free insurance lapses for your birthday from your insurance company?
I don't lapse on my insurance because I used to have a job doing something similar, dealing with people who lapsed on their insurance and got into car accidents.
Very easy to do.
I will never do that ever.
Well, the cheaper your insurance is, the less likely you're going to lapse, right? I know there's areas of this country where their car insurance for a year is $300, right? I mean,
Well,
you're not
yeah,
going
you're
to
just
lapse if,
liability.
yeah. And then there's
Y-
areas where it's 2,500.
for me, the order of bill pay goes rent, car insurance. I will hook if I don't have enough money for, those two together.
Hook.
I will hook.
Like
in
an
the
Afro-American
encampment.
prostitute? Like
Yes, in the encampment next door. I will go hook.
PCBPO23. I have to figure out a way to say that faster. Hello, hello. Happy birthday, Sarah. Babe Lewis, happy birthday, Sarah. It is crazy. Are you one of these broads that celebrates Happy Sunday? Happy birthday, says John O'Reilly. Gunga Din says happy birthday. Sue Monster says happy birthday. Arm is older than Sarah, Jamie, and wiser. And I might, Sarah, I heard I'm not going to say your age.
I'm 45. I don't care.
Okay.
Menopause is coming.
But I heard you read on a 48-year-old level.
Thank you. Yes, I do.
You still have the ratio of didn't you say you won an English award and a spelling bee in school?
No, I was in AP English like most of the country. It's not something to brag about. It's very easy to get into. And I won a spelling bee in like the 3rd grade, which was the glory days of my education.
Did you say Gigolos, Johnny, with Richard Grieco? Did Sarah order the Gigolo Nick Hawk for a lap dance? What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
Okay, Richard Grieco's post 21 Jump Street career included producing the show Gigolos. Nick
That
Hawk.
I knew. I don't know
Yes.
anything else past that.
Nick Hawk was the most popular gigolo on that show. He was an aspiring rapper, as we would call a wigger, and his rap song was called, or he refers to Nick Hawk and his stunt cock. It's as bad as you would think.
It's good we have John O'Reilly here because it's a little Ben Chew picture from the New Hampshire Hollywood Vampires leg of the tour where they went to New England. It's Ben Chew's posing with felon Jonathan Shaw. What a client for him to represent, right, Sarah? Jonathan Shaw. Holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that. Wait till you see this article on Autobots. Just came up to Aurora Avenue. If you need to hook, Sarah, you'll clean up real well.
All
That's
right,
a compliment, right?
There's a fetish for all types of bodies, so I think I'm okay.
How's the prostitution scene in Washington State and Oregon State?
Oh God, our
Aren't
governor.
we all prostitutes in the end?
No, our governor. She's great. Let me tell you, wants to legalize every single crime you could ever think of, but she's talking about legalizing prostitution. That should help.
What's her name?
Kotek, named after
Yeah,
tampons.
Governor Gotek.
No, Kotek.
You're disgraceful. Can't you see? Go.
No, I'm done.
Go ahead. Is there anything about her you don't like? I know you hate all women. Is there anything about her?
The first thing that started the ruinization of Oregon, and it takes a lot because it is a great state overall, she legalized possession. So you can drive down the street and on the corner you can see literally, nefarious types smoking crack. Can't do anything about it. It's illegal. Now prostitution is on the way. That should help.
You see, if I were Depp, I'd move here because
to Oregon.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was talking about how if you were in the Drug Enforcement Agency, you just sit outside Sweetser and just wait for anyone to leave and follow them. You just lead you right to Pablo Escobar.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what the rule. I don't understand what the drug rules are. I just don't get it.
Yeah. No, I went to Walmart this morning and there was a turf war between some folks on either side of the street in their tents, and they were screaming back and forth over the street. I had to drive through this over their meth. Somebody wasn't sharing. It's going great, let me tell you.
Did you at least eavesdrop for the class?
On the argument?
Yeah.
No, I hustled into the store so I could go home.
I don't know. When you said that word, you remember this song? It just hit me.
Oh, okay. Why are we playing music?
You're my obsession. I want possession.
Do you remember that song?
No.
John Waite from Bad English, and
I'm sure I do, but
it was just like a very, very quick top 40 hit in like 1990, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody know that song?
I'm sure people do.
My friend Jim Verdone was in traffic court. Speaking of traffic court, with John Waite in upstate when he was in college, he got some ticket, and John Waite was in front of him, and I just can't forget it. We always wish. Oh, Gungadin remembers it. Okay, Portland does sound amazing. Gungadin. No, it's actually really. It's far cleaner than New York is. Do
Mm-hmm.
not get that. New York is. It is. There are garbage, fast food wrappers from 1996 rolling around New York streets still. Your city's way cleaner than New York. I don't want that homeless thing gets a bad rap. That's bullshit. It's
The homeless
way,
thing in
way nicer.
Portland is no worse than any other city right
I
now.
agree. I agree.
It's a bad. Well, there was a study done, of course.
Out of sight, out of mind is
Mhm.
Giuliani's.
What's happening is California and Alaska are giving some homeless folks plane tickets or bus tickets. Go anywhere you want. They tend to come here because of the weather being
I-
more mild
I would
in
go
the
to
summer.
17 Squabble Lane. All
Yeah.
of them. All
Yeah.
of them. But Buff Bagwell over here. Is that a wrestler in the
Oh,
WCW?
he was. Yeah, he was on Gigolos.
How did all these guys know this show? Autobot and Johnny Bye Bye. Was this like a Gigolo binge watch going on? Is it still on, by the way? Is
No.
Rico on the show?
I don't know. He's just a producer.
I can't wait to ask him. If
Oh,
we can
that's what
get
I'm
him.
going to ask him. Don't worry. I'll
We just
cover
want
it.
to say, like, what when you were playing running back for Central Connecticut, did you say to yourself, "I can't wait to produce a show called Gigolos"?
I can't
And
wait to draw my eyebrows on and try to compete with Johnny Depp for the rebel role on 21 Jump Street.
Hanson's doing such a bang up job. Did God give you a get out of jail free card? People don't like to send their kids to high schools with rapists who burn crosses. Now, do you think you're exempt from certain laws because you like yourself? You're going to jail. Let go of me. Let go of me. Okay, okay, okay. Would you take him to interrogation and take him and the genius of the concealed handgun? That'll get you an extra 3 to 5, Jimbo. Marty.
Good God, you go on all day.
For some reason, I love that episode, and I don't think Patrick Hasberg wants to hear that because I think it's the first time he was not on staff. I think he did not make it to season 3,
Mm-hmm.
and you could see the shift. You could feel the Hasbergian shift. Johnny Bobby says it's such an underrated show, reality show. Really, really. Is it going for comedy? Very funny.
No, not really. A lot of it's scripted, like most reality shows, but there's real sex in the show. So they're getting these average broads, they're Johns, they're female Johns, and they're having sex with them. But
Jerking
it's
off to
scripted.
gigolos has got to be one step below jerking off to the Stern Show on the
I have.
E channel.
I've used
Like,
it.
there's so much porn at your disposal, any way you
I
want it,
know.
anyhow you want it, and this is what. Remember, HBO used to have a show called The Real Sex. You remember that?
I use that too. I have no
Yeah.
shame. Red Shoe Diaries, I used it all.
Oh God, it's David Duchovny.
Well, yeah, you don't pay attention to that part, but
John Hooper is right on the money. Homeless has always been bad. It's always been bad. Social
Mhm.
media has brought it to the forefront. He's absolutely right. He's
Yep.
right. Portland, Oregon population 652,000. New York City population 10 million. Yes, a
God,
lot more
why?
trash in New York. And square footage, and it's always weird. You try to explain New York to people who haven't been there or on like the borough part of New York because, like, oh, I'm in New York City. Like, oh, you really? No, Brooklyn's not New York City. Queens is not. Yeah, like Manhattan thinks it's the only thing that can call itself New York City, even
Mhm.
though it is 5 boroughs and it's all the city of New York. But yet Manhattan thinks it can call itself New York. You don't, or there's the snobs of the world think there's nothing outside of the borough of Manhattan.
Mhm. I wouldn't know. I don't got to deal with boroughs.
Cat House on HBO.
Yes, I used Cat House too. But let me tell you, I early 2000s, I was a degenerate with that. I was on my own, 5 years of no man, and I should have kept it that way because the marriage came right after that. But yeah, I did what I could.
Have you listened to the Seinfeld watch along, Sarah?
No.
Commentary with David and I with the new name we've coined, no hugging, no learning, because that's
No,
Larry David's mantra for the show to start. That there's going to be no lessons learned, and there'll be nothing schmaltzy.
I just make the thumbnails, and that gives me enough cringe seeing Jerry Seinfeld having to put him in a thumbnail. But yes, I will be listening because you've done 3 episodes so far, and I think you're at 10 hours talking about 3 episodes.
The initial Penske Files segment. I can't wait till you do that segment opening too, like the Weintraub thing. It's be pretty easy. You just have George saying Penske Files, and that was goddamn. I think it consumed 70% of it.
Oh God.
Shoshana Lonstein and
Just like our regular
Larry.
Patreon episodes.
It's not always a hard fast thing. It could be, that show. The problem with that show is it's accrued so much history and media and interviews, probably 50-1 what Jump Street has available.
Mhm.
So I don't even know. I get my head spins trying to come up with, because there's too much, not because you can't get enough. You can't find enough. There's too much. I don't know. There's too much in my head along with it. So I don't know.
Really?
I'm looking at this Saturday Night Live knockoff show Fridays, and Larry David and Michael Richards are both on it.
Mhm.
Black Mass, Gungadin. Yeah, so Depp and the Hollywood Vampires did the New England leg of the tour, and I was thinking while I was watching it, and I was finding some video footage. They're New Hampshire and Boston, and Ben Chew, I think, was at the New Hampshire show.
Okay.
That how funny would it be? They really need to fool around on these shows a lot more than they do. It's really so rote, and it's so by the numbers, and so the karaoke band, and I would say Rockstar Fantasy Camp, and feeling to it, and these 600 guitars, and it's very stiff and rote, and the same thing over and over again. If he came out as Whitey Bulger to sing in New England, right? How great is that? He came
Mhm.
out in the garb he's wearing. See what he's wearing now? Takes the hat off, and you see the fucking Kurtwood Smith cranium, and sings Heroes as Whitey Bulger. How great would that, in the Whitey Bulger accent?
Okay, all right. See, when I think about this and I see like the behind the scenes photos on the set, I flash back to Amber Heard just being on the set with him constantly, making him miserable, photographing him with spilled ice cream all over himself, and the plane ride back from the set.
We can be fucking heroes forever and ever. Depp's Whitey Bulger is really good in eerie and stuff, but if you hear it's very, very, very rare footage of him. He actually sounds like Bill Burr. He doesn't sound
Ugh.
like it's if I were a producer on that movie, and that should easily be something I'm granted. I would, without even a question, I would have jumped in, and I would have had Depp, who he has actually hung out with before. I would have had Bill Burr and Doug Stanhope hang out with Depp for a few nights, and he could just study Bill Burr's speech cadence and voice. It is exactly how Whitey Bulger sounds.
Okay. Why don't they make you in charge of all of this?
I
Like,
know.
you should have been assigned to him at birth.
Look at you, cheesesteak motherfuckers in that Philly crowd. It's more high pitched, and it's very close to Bill Burr.
Mm-hmm. Feel free to talk like that the entire episode. I'm just kidding.
Like who?
That Boston accent. Oh,
I don't know. I don't want to give them too much credit. I don't know if they find it would be too grating to hold up
yes, it would.
for it's that cadence, but that's how he sounds. If you really want to get it right. On the set, he was a good guy on the set. Who is a good guy on the set, Gungadin? Depp
Probably
or
Depp.
Bill Burr or
Probably Depp.
or Whitey Bulger, who hates the movie? He hates Depp. Yeah, Jim Bulger is his real name. Thank you.
Best thing
Gungadin.
Bill Burr ever did was having Anthony Cumia thrown out of the comedy club.
Gungadin, did you hear the audio footage I'm talking about? It's like you could find the same amount of footage of Jeffrey Epstein as you can Whitey Bulger. It's difficult. I'm open. Sarah, say again. You saying about comedy clubs?
The best thing Bill Burr ever did, including professional, was having Anthony Cumia thrown out of the comedy club.
That's a wild scene.
Yeah, they're all degenerates.
With all the
It's
cell
my
phones,
word of the day.
nobody has footage of that. There's no footage of that.
No, those people are too boomer to know how to turn their video camera on the phone.
That's a good point. It is a much older crowd. Like Bill Maher was talking about how he turned around one day and he was the old guy at the comedy club. He just didn't know what happened. All of a sudden he's looking around and he's, 5, 10 years older than everybody. But that doesn't apply anymore. These guys, like, there's like a set at the comedy show, like the average age is 56 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Colin Quinn's 64, 63. That's the lineup. Everyone's like over six. That was unheard of back in that Seinfeld generation when those guys, their obsession, I mean, for the most part, is get me out of these clubs. I'm not doing this every night.
Yeah. I don't blame them.
Yeah. So I mean these guys will claim they love attention or love stand up, but the goal of that baby boomer generation was get me out of these clubs. Give me a sitcom, give me a talk show, give me something, a holding deal. Get me out. I'm not coming here every night, 7 nights a week. I don't need that much attention.
Yep. You want to get that business out of the way?
One that's Johnny Bob is Depp using body doubles at his concert now that he's overdosed in some random Hungarian hotel room. Yeah, we talked about that passed out. I don't know. My question, Johnny, is I don't understand how he moves like RoboCop on stage, and it's just as stiff, and like Depp Mortis, like he's just doesn't even bend his joint. I don't understand in what capacity he could have had an injury on that level with how little he moves on stage, how undynamic.
You don't know what he was doing away from stage.
I don't get how you could injure yourself that like that. So something went on beyond.
You could be going upstairs and stress fracture your foot.
That's crazy. Go ahead, Sarah. I'm sorry.
No, I'm done.
No, you're not. You're about to.
Oh, okay. Business. All right. All right. We are $60 away from this month's goal, with this being the last show of the month. If you can, please super chat, super sticker, super thanks if you find us after the live stream. Also, we have a Venmo, which is that QR code that you're covering up with the chat.
I am?
Yes.
Sorry.
That's okay. Right. So go ahead, scan that. Make sure the Deppening is what comes up with the photo of arm. And you can donate that way.
I didn't sign off on that. I didn't.
You did, because it's your Aquaman Photoshop picture. So you did sign off on that thing. Good try. That way, all of your money goes to the Venmo that you're donating, and YouTube doesn't get their cut. So that's one way to take care of YouTube.
That's how you cut out Tracy Jacobs at A Depp's Life.
Yes.
Same thing.
If Stuttering John can do Venmo, so can we.
Oh, right. God, I'm so tired of that whole.
I am too. It's been ruined.
Bullshit.
This big, return has been ruined. He's everywhere.
Oddly enough, Radio Gump was the first one to even get in his orbit. Like, we started it, but not in the same way. It was just like, and now we're just all sick of it. And these just grifting, fucking tedious hucksters just beat it to death. Like, I don't even want to get into it. Forget it.
I know, it's a pain in the ass. But he's the ultimate, and we'll move on then. He's the ultimate, since this big return, Sticky Stickstein. It is so annoying, his little pouting, his screaming. I'm done with him. I hope he fails at everything he's trying to do.
Right, Gungadin, Whitey Bulger. There's the audio of him talking on the phone, and I don't know what the context of it is. I don't know if it's a long time ago. It reminds me of the Donnie Brasco tapes with Lefty Ruggiero. It's very eerie to hear that. Very high-pitched, Bill Burr-esque voice. He's right. The last Walking Dead show is filmed in New York, says Gungadin. It did not need to do special effects. They just rolled the cameras in.
Gotta tell you, sometimes it's like that here, but not on that level.
G. Canada says, last year, New York City was giving a homeless free bus ticket to Canadian border. I didn't know that. Welcome, G. Canada. The two of us have to infiltrate Depp Delusion together this week. I have a new identity. I'm not going to say what it is. I don't know. I'm trying to, it's like a tattoo. I think you could change your Reddit name, right? If you wanted to.
You have to cancel. I think you have to delete your account.
Oh, they don't let, is that their way of like trying to ward off trolls?
Mm-hmm.
I bet you it is. If you keep changing your name. Philly 29, Sarah wants to know what the Venmo address is.
Scan that QR code, or if you go to Venmo, I'm still learning, but if you go to Venmo and do a search at the Deppening, Just make sure it's the correct picture before you send anybody your money.
Thank you, Philly. Thank you, John O'Reilly. What are you doing? A Cash App, Sarah says.
We do have a Cash App. We've never used it before. I will mention it in the next episode. I think it's at the Deppening one, but don't do that yet until I verify that.
Okay, that's what he's doing. He said Bulger was asking about Rent for Someone. I wonder what year that's from. I need to listen to that again. It was not long, but when we do that Black Mass show, even though we can't, I guess that'd have to be like a Patreon thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, that movie is it's one of the best collective casts I've seen on screen in the same I always wanted to see Depp in a movie with Kevin Bacon, and so here you get it, and they're never on screen together. They're never. It's like almost in the way that Christian Bale is only in one scene in Public Enemies,
Mm-hmm.
but Kevin Bacon plays like the FBI. You know, Georgia has its own FBI.
I think I knew that.
I'm watching this show called Rectify, and I could tie this into Depp in a second. It's basically Damien Eccles' West Memphis 3 story. It's like what would happen when he got out. It's the same time he was on death row. It's this guy gets out of death row, lives with it picked up in the second season. It's still not super the broad on that show, smoking cute brunette Abigail Spencer. If I were running DC movies, she would be my Lois Lane in a heartbeat. I don't know how they missed it. It's exactly what Lois Lane is. She looks like her, she acts like her, she sounds. It's perfect. How they don't get it? It is crazy. They don't know how to cast her properly. It's
Mhm.
crazy.
I just put the Venmo address in the chat.
Dorian Morgan knows it. It's called the GBI. Does every state have their own FBI?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
In this show that I'm watching, they said GBI. I'm like, what the hell is that? So they did like an investigation of a disappeared body, and he's like GBI. I'm like, what? So I Google the acronym, and it's the Georgia Bureau of Investigation.
Mhm.
Is that the only state that has their own FBI?
I'm not sure.
And is it separate from the federal one? Do they have dominion? Or it's bizarre. So weird. It's really, really okay. There's a BCI in New York, says Barbara DeRush. Welcome, Babs. On the show, and I highly recommend it. But the first season is slow. It picks up in the second. It's only 5 episodes in the first season. The second season's 10. It's weird. It's like it just does whatever it wants,
Mhm.
like episode wise. And this guy, Daniel Holden, is accused of. He goes on death row for killing a girl, raping and killing a girl, and he goes away for about 18 years, and he misses like the 90. I did the math. He went away in 1994-5, and then got. They found like a loophole in his case, some inconsistency, and they released him on some technicality, and he gets released in say 2013. So now imagine what you missed in those years. So he comes out, and the last like video game system he knew was Sega Genesis. So he comes out to this technology, and he's just like the Walking Dead. He's like kind of he's just all this. He's basically been to hell and back.
Mhm.
And he's just all twisted and trying to adjust, and he's living in the same town where this was a huge scandal, and they don't want him back, and he's got a lawyer from New York whose last name is Stern, and his sister is Abigail Spencer, and her name is Amantha on the show, Amantha,
Oh,
and
God.
she's like psychotically obsessed with proving his innocence, just like just won't go on with her life. Her life is dedicated to proving his innocence, and she's so immersed in this to the point where she's like stifling her own progress. Like she won't go on with anything, and she's dating the lawyer, and it's really well acted. It can get kind of slow, and there's all sorts of like boss hog, Roscoe Pico train corruption in Georgia. You know, with their senator and stuff. It's real. I don't know if anyone's seen it. It's like it's on AMC Plus. Now, the AMC is not even good enough. There's an AMC Plus now.
There's a
Another
plus for
streaming service we
everything.
need.
Mm-hmm. But real quick here, since we were just on the topic.
Well, let me just finish that. Before I
Okay.
forget, let me just finish this. So I had a theory that it was based on Damien Eccles in the West Memphis Three because it mirrors so much of that. You know that case. And I looked it up, and it's not necessarily that it's based on it. They don't claim, but Damien Eccles was asked to review it, and he said it's like frighteningly accurate to what he went through.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do a West Memphis 3 show down there, but I highly recommend the show. I will warn you, the first season is very slow. He looks like the lead looks like Tom Welling from Smallville, Clark Kent.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Got
And that's all right. YouTube has banned my link in the chat, so it removed it. The link for the Venmo is venmo.com/u, the letter U. So venmo.com/u/the Deppening.
Hi, buddies. Jody Tanino writes, "Hi, buddies. I emailed you if I can't do Deppner. This guy and this schedule of his, I know his schedule better than I know my own. Look at what he writes here. I emailed you. I can't do if Depp next Sunday, the 6th, at and not Thursday the 3rd. This is Judy Tanuna. Not Thursday the 3rd. When would you like if Depp? Friday, Saturday, or in 2 weeks? This is a guy. This is a walking. Remember the Palm Pilot? He loves his schedule. This Judy Tanuna. Like I said, I know his schedule better than my own. I'm not sure tomorrow what I'm going to be doing. I don't know what I'm
Well,
tonight. What I'm
that's you, and you're a quite the case.
seat of
But
your pants.
people need to schedule things. That's also why you should check your email and your personal messages over on Radio Gunk. I've seen screenshots of your alerts.
Okay, you know what, Judy? Just for you, when does he say he's available? If I can't, what does he think? If I can't do if Depp next Sunday, okay. I don't know. See, I need to know because I will do it next Sunday if you want to do it. I'm not doing Thursdays out. When would you like to do it? Friday? Jesus Christ. I don't know, Judy. If we're gonna do it, it's gonna be probably next Sunday. I'm not against Saturday if we could somehow dance around something else, but
You can do it Saturday. I'm
yeah.
available. My busy schedule.
Are you going to be joining the Gunk show later? When will there be a Depp Gunk collaboration? I don't know what that means, Super. Is there a radio Gunk tonight? If there's a text exchange with Monique Dennis and I, and Monique gets cut off in the thing all the time. Like there's some craziness with either my phone or her phone. I have no idea. I don't know. Did you see anything on? I know nothing about it.
I don't.
Oh, now okay. Here's the text exchange. I think I meant not seeing it. What time? So I still don't see. Oh God, I can't. I have no idea. This is the weirdest text exchange, and I'm getting too distracted here by this shit. I gotta get on track. Okay, Palm Pilot debuted in 1997. Sarah needs an assistant. I do need an assistant.
I try, everybody. Oh, hey.
What's
I just
that?
got a fraudulent email
Okay.
saying my Chase account has been suspended. I don't have a Chase account.
Oh, that's one of those fake emails you get
Yeah.
on okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what's going on in the Depp world?
I don't know.
I want to bring your attention to a gentleman named Jonathan Shaw. He is one of these renegade people Depp keeps in his life. G. Canner said something to do. Thank you, G. Canner, with Discord. I don't know what that could be a show about. I'm not seeing. I got this broken conversation in my text. I don't understand. I don't like the randomness. They're well aware. Yeah, I have no knowledge of this.
I guess I'm a mod on the Discord. I don't
Now
care.
it's 7.
I don't want to be a mod.
So this guy is Jonathan Shaw he's a tattoo artist. He's a artist. I think the son of some jazz musician. And of course he's in Depp's orbit and he's one of these renegades he needs to be part of. And he's known him for a while. He's kind of friends with Iggy Pop and this Lower East Side, East Village crew and Jim Jarmusch and these people, and they love tattoos and black and white and acting cool. And he is getting in quite a bit of trouble, and I don't know if people realize this. Let me read his. So he it was in the Depp's business managers talking about how he squandered a lot of his money on his friends with his authorization. And so he claimed I was not authorized to distribute these money to my friends, and his managers disagree. And so this is what starts bailing this Jonathan Shaw out of prison. I mean, actual prison, like legitimate, like gun running and God knows what else. Okay. Do you see? What do you see here?
Yes, I see that. Daily News.
Daily News. Okay. This is from 2011. He'd already been convicted, so now he's dealing with it in the courts.
Looks like Frank
This
Zappa.
does. Cross between Dave Navarro and the broad looks like Kirstie Alley on his right?
I think Frank Zappa banged Borat and they had a baby. And now he's on gun charges.
Jonathan Shaw, celebrity tattoo artist, pleads not guilty to keeping an arsenal of illegal guns. This is 12 years ago, January 12th. And I follow this stuff ardently, and this got by me. I know that I've known this guy for years in Depp's life. Never approved of it. And this somehow got under the. I don't know how I missed this. It's very easy to miss stuff if you don't. He's not exactly like a household name and you wouldn't know. I certainly wouldn't care about him if he wasn't in Depp's life. And I don't know how anybody would know who he is other than this. Anyway, look at this fucking 5 rings and the cigarette. It's like he just like
It's
he's
right
got
into the club.
the Depp
It's okay.
starter kit, right? The ski cap. And I'll give him that. It's January. Celebrity tattoo artist Jonathan Shaw pleaded not guilty Tuesday. I just read this today. I wanted to see if they covered it, and they did. This is 12 years ago. Tuesday, the charges he kept loaded guns and nearly 3,000 rounds of ammunition in a lower Manhattan storage locker. Pleaded not guilty. How do you plead not guilty? You're there. They're yours. You possess
even
it.
if
You possess it. That's yours. But you know what I'm saying? It said possession.
I think it's almost a rule, a legal rule that you have to plead not guilty.
That's so crazy. Like the only excuse you would have if somebody broke into your locker and placed it there. That's the only way that you could be quote unquote innocent in this situation. It's yours. You possessed it. It's in your. Why do you need that? You're a tattoo artist. Why does it? That'd be the first. If I'm the judge, I'm like, this is the ways I wish I was a judge. I'm like, why does a tattoo artist need 3,000 rounds? I would yell at him. I'd be like, why does a tattoo artist need 3,000 rounds of ammunition? What are you doing with it? What could you? And so I like this article because they go into the gun problem in the United States. The son of big band legend Artie Shaw was hit with an 89 count indictment for the arsenal found by a moving company Shaw hired to transport the guns from the facility to Los Angeles, prosecutors said. Why? Why would you need to do this? On no planet are you quote unquote innocent of this. You've already, but there's nothing about not guilty here. Not guilty, says Shaw, after the charges. 3 felony and 86 lesser counts were unveiled in a Manhattan Supreme Court. Jonathan Shaw, who opened the first legal tattoo parlor in New York City and inked celebs like Johnny Depp and Marilyn Manson, was arrested in November. The events of this past weekend remind us that so he was arrested 3 months before this. What I'm reading. The events of this past weekend remind us that the gun violence continues to plague our nation. Manhattan. This is 12 years ago. It's worse now. Manhattan District Attorney. I think the book would have been thrown at him if this went down today. If with all the school shootings, I think if this happened like 6 months ago, he would have gotten the fullest extent of the law, and hopefully he would have. Said referring to the Arizona massacre that left 6 people dead and a U.S. congresswoman with a bullet in her brain. The defendant's illegal weapons cache endangered workers and customers at the storage facility and the entire community, said Vance. Shaw said nothing as he walked out after his court appearance, but he has a $250,000 bail was continued. That seems kind of low, doesn't it?
I
I don't know.
I
don't
don't know.
understand bail. His lawyer defended the weapons trove as a collection. You would indict the Metropolitan Museum of Art? There's an impressive collection of historical weaponry there as well, says Stacy Richmond. Those are without question historical pieces, Richmond said, of the 3 knives engraved with a Ku Klux Klan logo in the locker. Why
Mm.
would you even want that? Like, even if you think it's like, why
People
would
collect
you
Nazi
Oh,
memorabilia.
F him. Shaw said he bought his Norinco AK-47 assault weapon in the Houston Street it's Houston, not Houston. In New York, Sarah. They've renamed it's a street in the village.
Mm.
Shop a decade ago that he purchased the other guns in New York prior to that. According to the court papers filed by prosecutors, the papers suggest that Shaw tried to evade arrest at one point, hanging up on cops and later telling them his personal assistant told him the police had called looking for him but had the wrong name. Guns in the locker included the AK-47 loaded with 31 rounds of ammo, a British military rifle, a Mossberg 12-gauge pump action pistol. Sounds like an action figure, right? Mossberg 12-gauge pump action pistol grip shotgun and loaded 30 caliber semi-automatic rifle, officials said. More than 80 knives, including 66 illegal switchblades. What are you in the fucking West Side Story? Who's carrying a switchblade anymore? Fucking God, what is this guy?
It's probably smart nowadays.
Yeah, and he's the son of 2 daggers, a bayonet,
I like a
a
bayonet
laser
some days.
rifle, a lightsaber, Tony Stark's repulsor rays, 5 sets of metal brass knuckles, 8 expendable batons. 8 expandable. What is he? He's like a walking insurrection, Sarah, right? He's a walking January. I bet you he was at January 6th. Expandable batons, 2 leather blackjacks, and 5 blank firing handguns. Where are their grenades, right? Were also
People have them.
discovered, officials said. Prosecutors said Shaw has never owned a rifle permit in his life or firearms license in New York. He faces up to 15 years in prison if convicted of these possession charges.
Wow.
Sorry, ladies, he's taken.
If we're going to talk about the gun debate, and I don't really want to, but I grew up, I've said this before, I grew up around guns. I knew to respect them. I knew if I didn't, if I made it out alive, my father would beat the hell out of me if I did anything wrong with a gun. I don't have a problem with them taking my guns, but they'd better be for fuck sure to take them from everybody, especially the illegal guns, the illegal gun owners. If you can guarantee to me that they're not going to have those guns too, take mine. But you won't.
Your motivation for having a gun is far more noble than his, where he's using it as
I know.
ostentatious, almost like God. Frank Castle, who's the Punisher, blackface. This is like a Frank Castle arsenal I just read.
Mm-hmm.
There's no purpose. Name me one example where he's needed one of those in his life. I guarantee you there's not one instance that even that bullshit artist could come up with where he's needed one. I think Magneto said it best.
You Homo sapiens and your guns.
He's right. He's right. He's right. Right? I mean, you're using it as protection because you're afraid of your own shadow. There's nothing noble about what there's no way to rationalize it. I just see guilty. There's nothing in there that's someone for Ben Shue to represent, right, Sarah? I mean,
Mm-hmm. By the way, we just got our first Venmo. Yay!
John O'Reilly says, I'm in New York City, the strictest gun laws in the United States. I didn't realize that, John. Guns are everywhere here, although. He's right.
All we got to do, you know what to solve it? Just put up a gun-free zone sign. That'll take care of it.
Amosexuals. The story in Oregon. That's great, Dorian. That's the line of the night. Amosexuals. That's a good name of a podcast. Or Depp's relationship with guns is solely based on Hunter S. Thompson in Aspen in the backyard. And his dad was a gun nut. Depp's dad had a very funny shirt your dad would wear.
What did it say?
Freedom of something, and it has like every variation of gun on his shirt.
I
That
think
says,
my dad has that shirt. I know what you're talking about.
I exercise my freedom of choice or something. Yeah, that's it. Something like that.
Yeah, I think my father has that.
Depp's father, John Sr., has a shirt that says, it's something to the extent of, I exercise my freedom of choice, and it's every variation of handgun, like in a kind of a silhouette
Mm-hmm.
on the shirt. Your dad has a shirt?
I'm pretty sure he has one very similar. It's like a history of weapons from like a bow and arrow up through whatever's made when the shirt was printed. But it's not a bad shirt. I get my
It
dad shirts for Christmas, and they're all politically, themed or sarcastic T-shirts. So he's got just about every shirt you can imagine.
Barbara DeRush goes, it's just a Swiss Army knife. No, yeah, I want to buy. I forgot
Yeah.
that. Wolverine, no adamantium claws. Oh, that would be so funny to write that in as adamantium claws, vibranium shields, vibranium. Jonathan Shaw, another nepo baby tough guy. Yes, Johnny, bye
Mm-hmm.
bye. Yes, yes, yes.
Do you have the video of him giving Depp the tattoo? I always like that.
I don't have the video of that. I'll get it some other time. I do have a video of them. Not a video, it's a picture of them hanging out, I believe, last night.
Yeah. Let me interrupt you. Philly29, yes, I got your Venmo. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Philly29. You mensch of menches. Always comes. I love you for and he doesn't demand any kind of huge statement read or anything.
I think that's
Not
the
that
most he
I have a
said.
problem with it.
I think this question here is the most he said, and he has earned the right to write out manifestos in our
Yes.
chat. So
Sarah Festos. G Canada with another. He can counter a Canadian statistic for anything you say. It's a superpower. Toronto police say 97% of guns used in crime are illegally smugged in from the United States. I believe that. I totally believe that, based on the crime statistics or lack thereof in Canada. So, with that, because we bring this up all the time, we bring up Depp and his friends, and Sarah brings it up as much as I do. So this is what Depp had to do to bail this guy out of jail, and he was at the show in New England last night, New Hampshire and Boston. There were two shows. One, I believe, New Hampshire was last night, and Boston was Friday night. So he gets hit with a thing, and this is how he avoids jail time. His good friend John Christopher Depp II. Tell me if you could see this.
I can see that. Yes.
Okay. Distribution. Now this was done by Depp's business managers that say he squandered his own money. They did it, and this is why. So they cite all the friends and family that he gave money to, which is very, very magnanimous and generous. But when you go back and you kind of regret it, when he found out he was broke, the 650 million you all know about, he tried to recoup it and make excuses why that he never authorized his sister to give money to these people, and his managers begged to differ. So this is Jonathan Shaw, who you just heard about. Cross-defendant Jonathan Shaw is a self-proclaimed world-traveling outlaw artist, novelist, blogger, head doctor, anti-folk hero,
Ugh.
whorehouse philosopher, legendary tattoo master,
These are the words you use to describe yourself to real in Depp.
a poser, in other words, a notorious innovator and creator, nepo baby of underground art. Yeah, they forgot nepo baby, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the most important part of that. He's also a long-term, most importantly, I should say, he's also a long-term close friend of Johnny Depp. The 262,000. This is what you just read in the bail. Bail bond, right? 262,000 in distributions to Shaw were loans that Depp and Dombrowski, his sister, expressly instructed TMG to make to Shaw without any formal loan documentation. On information and belief, in and about approximately November 2009, Shaw was arrested in New York on weapons charges for the possession of an AK assault rifle, many other firearms, 96 knives, 3,000 rounds of ammunition. If convicted, Shaw was facing years and years in prison. Shaw turned to Depp for a loan to post bond and pay for a defense, which on information and belief allowed Shaw to avoid all jail time. Avoids all jail time based on this loan. It was certainly not TMG's idea to loan Shaw this money. Depp and Dombrowski fully authorized and instructed that loan to be made to Shaw on information and belief. Depp never demanded that his friend repay the funds. Look at Blowfish underneath it. This is just a series of people that he bailed out of very tough situations, very noble, very I don't know, altruistic is a word here, or just menschy and generous, and Johnny on the spot. And this is his sister. This is all people. 7.1 million dollars of misappropriated funds.
Just call yourself an outlaw and learn how to tattoo a native. Oh, I lost myself. A Native American bust on somebody's forearm, and you're in.
This is his nephew, Billy Rassel in Kentucky. Gave him money to buy a house. Nathan Holmes, his assistant. James Russo, Donnie Brasco, and the Ninth Gate, and he was actually very briefly in Public Enemy. So Depp was throwing him roles, along the way. This is an interesting story. I'll read this really quick. He played Paulie and Donnie Brasco, and I'm sure you've seen this guy before. Very New York actor. Cross defendant James Russo is an actor, long-term close friend of Depp. Depp is also close to Russo's children and was apparently part of their lives growing up. $412,000 in distributions to Russo were payments that Depp instructed TMG to make in order to prevent the foreclosure of Russo's home. Depp's claim that he had no knowledge about these distributions is totally outrageous. On or about March 24th, 2011, Holmes emailed Mandel, that's Depp's business manager, informing him that JD will be calling you to discuss Jimmy Russo. At around the same time, at an event that took place at Depp's castle-like home in the Hollywood Hills, Depp took Mandel aside and told him that Russo was about to lose his house. Depp specifically instructed Mandel to loan Russo, quote, whatever it takes to pay Russo's mortgage down and for long as was necessary so that Russo and his kids are not thrown out onto the street. That's really crazy, harsh. I just don't know how Russo's never had like a huge role where you kind of wonder how a guy like that keeps up a living in the industry. He just kind of drops in and out of stuff. And thereafter, Mandel distributed the above funds to save Russo's home with the intention to pay down the principal to a point where Russo could refinance and manage the monthly mortgage payments on his own. Dabrowski also approved all distributions to Russo. Again, Depp and Dabrowski instructed that there should be no formal loan documents. Russo is represented in TMG that he intended to repay the loan on information and belief. Russo still owns the house, and Depp has never requested Russo ever repay these loans. I mean, that is a friend. That is a friend. But that's what he did a series of, and then it's amazing. Kind of the mentality about face he does, like when he finds out he loses that money, and then you're in that like recoup mode, like how do I get it back, and how did I squander it? And he's going through, like he just this is who I helped, and I can't get it back, and it's a crazy scenario there. To go from like you just don't have like throwing money at literally the very definition of throwing money at every problem and getting away with it, and then you find out you lost $650 million and you're just in that recoup mode. Who did I squander this on, but never taking full accountability for it. Johnny Bobby Depp got blow through $700 million from miscellaneous hangers-on. Yet everyone thinks Amber is the evil one for the $7 million divorce settlement, which she could take off. You could also say too, Johnny, that Amber is responsible for so much ticket sales for the Hollywood vampires, right? Wouldn't you say, Sarah, that half the people there are just posers that latched on from the trial and have no interest at all, and certainly not,
Yes,
it's hilarious pretending to be classic rock fans and fans of Alice Cooper. They just have no idea who any of these people are, and they're just posers who latched on to the trial during obviously in a COVID era when no one had anything to do and watch this, and they're on TikTok making fucking tediously unfunny videos, and now are going to Hollywood vampire concerts pretending to be fans of his music and these dinosaur rockers, which is hilarious on itself.
Some of the law tubers attending shows too.
Yeah.
For me, with her and the 7 million, I don't care. His financial situation doesn't affect mine, so I don't care. He wants to give his money away, let him.
Well, you see what he gets paid for. Sauvage, and how easily he can do like a Japanese beer commercial.
Well, yeah, but for me, it's the information that we knew before the trial, but especially what came out in the trial with the domestic abuse from her that's proven. It's like you reverse the sexes, and it's like a man, you know, so much evidence against a husband, abusing the wife, and then he takes $7 million from her. That's
During
more
more,
what it is for me. It's gross to me.
well, in the end,
And it
right?
was
It turned
worse that he let it go just for $1 million. I would have taken her for the entire. What did it turn out to be? 10
1 million.
million?
Oh yeah, when the in terms of the trial finality,
Yeah, the verdict. I would have taken her for every penny of that.
because she won one of the cases, you subtract it from that, and
Yeah,
it became
exactly.
$8.5 million.
I said it before. If you're going to burn my life down, take my career away, ruin me personally within my, my relationships with people, I'm going to take your kids' baby furniture if I had to.
Right.
I'd walk in and empty her house out. I don't care.
But again, I circle back to too, and I keep forgetting to get this video of the dude from Never Back Down, who said that he was out with Amber Heard and Whitney, and Depp was like furiously texting her all the time when they weren't, while
Oh
he was with
yeah.
Vanessa. So where he gets no pass for me is he pursued her feverishly and furiously and behind the scenes and over again, that he pursued her. So you completely have to take accountability for bringing her into your life and not seeing through it. You did this.
At that point in
I
his
don't feel
life,
sorry for you. You're robbing it's like a
I
midlife
agree
crisis.
with you. I'm not defending him there, especially coming off, by all definitions, a successful relationship, long-term relationship, to
With a
go into
really
that,
good woman who could easily be a total French albatross.
to
Pain
fall,
in the ass.
but to fall for the seduction where she can list off your favorite authors, and you fall for every line of bullshit she throws at you. And yes, he opened the door. It's the power of the puss.
Yes, ma'am.
Listen to G Canada. He says, I remember during the trial, I'd take her slaps for
Yes.
the puss or whatever.
He's not alone. He's not alone in that.
No, absolutely not. It's still violence. It's still domestic. It's still abuse. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. I don't hit men because I think they're going to hit me back, and I don't take a hit very well.
I don't believe that.
Oh God, I'd be on the floor weeping.
Who did Stone Cold Steve Austin did his move on? Because I missed that whole era.
Stephanie, he did Stephanie McMahon, Stacy Keibler.
It's because it's wrestling. It's funny, but there's nothing funnier than doing that to a woman in a pro wrestling setting. It's just the funniest thing in the world.
There's one. Let me sidetrack for a second. Sorry. There's one where Scott Steiner, when the WCW came back in, the Invasion storyline, Scott Steiner was going to hit Stacy Keibler with a chair. So Austin, the corrector of the wrongs, runs in to save Stacy Keibler. At the very end, they chase Scott Steiner off. Austin offers her a beer, and because she doesn't like beer or the taste of it, he gives her a Stone Cold Stunner. I laughed. I'm sorry. I know it's not right.
Stupid.
I know it's fake.
They run out of ideas. They're so they can't because you run out of ideas after a while with wrestling. There's nothing more you can do, and I guess whatever year that came out. That's
2000.
That was that's the best they could come up with in the moment. Is
hey, I laughed.
His beer, so he's gonna break her neck in the middle of the ring.
That's fine.
So stupid.
Stephanie McMahon deserved it. I'll say that. It's
Hooper says, "Teach a man to fish, and you don't have to buy 30,000 rounds of ammunition."
My dad does both. So.
Oh, what does he like better, fishing or shooting guns?
Fishing, absolutely. But 30,000 rounds of ammunition, that's a Tuesday in Eastern Oregon.
Is it really?
Yeah. Eastern Oregon's filled with militias.
Oh, okay. So it's because your state's very blue.
No. The Portland area and down a little bit through the Willamette Valley is blue. The rest of the state is red.
Well,
but because you have such a discrepancy with population, the Portland area and the Valley determine how every election is going to go, which I don't really agree with.
New York is like that too.
Yeah.
Like Long Island, I think. I don't know if John O'Reilly could is red, I think.
Mm-hmm.
If Hooper can verify that that's why I moved out of my town.
Oh God.
It was too red. Too many Trump
Ugh.
signs on the front lawn. I don't
You
belong
let
there.
that bother you way too
Yeah, I
much.
do let it bother me. I
I
do
don't
let it bother.
care.
I'm mentally ill sociopaths. I'm not going to be around it.
I believe
No racial diversity
they're on
either.
both sides, my love.
No, they're not on both
Yeah, they are.
sides.
Okay.
Dory Moore, just because you can't afford the cost of a house you can't afford doesn't mean you're going to end up homeless. Well, I don't know. Depp is a bit of a mark. He's definitely a mark, although it's terrifying to have kids and have that thrown at you. But I don't know. I don't understand an actor like James Russo's situation. You know, like a guy like him who these character actors who just are living role to role. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
what is his? Wouldn't you love to see his like tax returns for 10 years in the 90s? Like what a guy like that gets. I'd love to see that. Those weird character actors who just, you know, they do many things in the same year or nothing at all.
Mm-hmm.
John O'Reilly goes, is there any celebrity more involved in the legal system than Depp? Not anymore. Certainly
Yeah, we just don't hear about it because
he's
it doesn't
got
get the
things we
clicks.
never. I mean, that shit we just talked about was. I have a thing I'm not even reading today because I didn't think we'd have time. Is the bodyguards that he got sued by with the transportation of and this is a really I found a really detailed article about it last night. We just don't have time for it. They were two, and you could see them. I think we played the video of Lily Rose and Jack going through security in LAX, and they're with him there, and they were basically complaining about babysitting and transporting minors with drugs and guns, not guns, but you know what I mean. And it's just overtime they didn't get and meal money and stuff. It's really crazy, is it? And it just kind of got, and then that and the set of City of Lies. It's just stuff like this, endless. This is going on during the actual Amber Heard trial.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of Amber Heard, so that the audio video that I'm talking about with that dude from I forget his name. It's not. It's been a while. From Never Back Down, talking about how Depp was pursuing her all along the way, and he's talking to Amber Heard and Whitney, and they're talking about Depp is texting him at the same time. So yeah, he made his own bed, and he's not a victim at all. He had all autonomy and the power to nix his, as you said, the power of the puss is the real thing here. And is a man canceled that has thousands and thousands of people waiting for him in Fairfax to leave and goodbye to standing ovations and to that's not canceled to me. And canceled is not having a full European tour. Wait, see, they're idiots. His legal team is so stupid. I would have in the last few days I would have been like, does this look like a man canceled? And I would have read the tour dates and I would have shown footage of the outside with people. Does that look like and the whole what's the point of the thing, right, Sarah? It's is Amber Heard's defamation piece losing roles, losing your reputation and your money?
I
Not
will.
like Mordecai is her fault.
We don't always agree on this topic. In my opinion, the companies full of pedos and other various deviants made the attempt to cancel him. Like you got your Disneys and your whatever studios, but I think that was all, taken apart by the following he gained during the trial. So I agree with you there. In the end, no, he wasn't really canceled, but they tried.
Cancel means
Oh God, we're never going to agree on this. Round and
you
around.
can't people, but it's him empowering Disney and Warner Brothers by doing that.
We're never going to agree
You
on
supposedly
this.
don't want anything to do with them, so they don't get to decide. It's the fan that cancels you.
They weren't expecting the following he gained at the trial. They thought everybody would agree and go along with him being cast out of Hollywood like a freak, but he gained those new fans, quote unquote, during the trial that continue to support him. So at the very end, no, he was not canceled, but they tried their damnedest to do it.
But again, it's whatever. It's like what he says here about Johnny Bob. He goes, if Amber goes back to stripping in Texas, she'd sell out bigger venues than the Hollywood Vampires. That's a great scenario. If she just did like an entire strip show and like a full, like say I'm gonna keep calling it Reunion Arena in Dallas because I don't want to use the corporate names where the Mavericks play.
Since
She
we're
gets
on her name, I found it, and I'm sorry for interrupting you, but I found a paparazzi photo somebody posted where she's carrying her daughter through some European country that she's trying to gain a new following in, and her daughter is just slapping the shit out of her, and they took a picture of it. It's hilarious.
Autobot says, did you get People Magazine? Did the trial 1 year later? I've seen a ton of stuff about the 1 year later thing, but I did not specifically see the People Magazine part of it. I wouldn't pay $5 entry fee for that show, says A. Smith. Kathy Scott goes, Depp's
Yes,
going to be going broke by the way he's living now.
agreed.
Again, I want to know if there's some way. I've always been fascinated by, I am more so now because of Depp's involvement with these bands. And when I read about Alice Cooper's manager and Tracy Jacobs fighting over him taking Scale to tour with them, that can't be going on now. But I've always wondered, like in modern day, about how bands pay the people involved. Like, do you get, going back to the super band, like Pearl Jam, Sarah, does Eddie Vedder get the same amount as Michael McCready when
I
they tour?
doubt it.
How is that determined?
I don't
Are
know.
we a team? Are we, like, you'd think like, oh, when they first got together, it was like, all right, we're all for one and we're all the same and we're all equal. And then Eddie Vedder gets more popular than Stone Gossard and Michael McCready.
They actually might, because songwriting duties, except for Matt Cameron, the drummer, songwriting duties are pretty much split up evenly throughout every member of the band. That's kind of what it's based on. Nirvana had a big war toward the very end of their tenure. Kurt Cobain wanted like 90% of the money because he was writing all the songs.
Right.
Going into it, it was split evenly. I'm sure the woman in his ear was helping him determine that he wanted 90% and deserved 90%. But I don't know. I couldn't tell you about Pearl Jam because
We hear stories about all these massive artists selling out tours and making, Katy Perry and I'm just talking about like contemporary people, like, let's say Beyonce and whatever rock star you want to plug into, and they're just like insane money they talk about, and they're, what are the vampires pulling in? We hear nothing about it. That nobody seems to. There's got to be some Forbes dude who has the inside track on this that can find out exactly how this goes and what they're pulling. You just don't hear any. It seems like they're selling these venues out. Like John O'Reilly went to Huntington. What does that hold, John? What did the tickets cost, and how would you, if you could, like an average ticket price per seat, what do they get for that? And how do they distribute it to the band? And there's not a shot in hell that Depp is saying to these guys, oh, I get more than you do because
no.
70% of this crowd are poser, Deptford wives who started liking me because of the fucking Amber Heard trial.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no way he's pulling that move, right? I mean, that he's the idolatry of these guys and the dinosaur rockers. There's no way he would need his agent to do that. He would need Jack Wiggum to do that.
Yeah. Well, again, going back to Pearl Jam, I think they handle their business unlike most bands. I wouldn't be surprised if they're split evenly. But yeah, vampires, I would imagine he said, no, 2%. That's good. I'm living my dream.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And I don't know, we don't know the full extent of the fights with the managers and the money and stuff, but I guarantee you that came up in one of the depositions we never saw film, that the manager said, this guy just idolizes all these dinosaur rockers and he just agreed to tour with these guys for months and months and months and not take a film that was going to pay him $20 million and at scale because he's obsessed. He needs to worship these guys. And that's a lot of money that we had to say goodbye to. We had to say Johnny bye-bye to. Right? I mean, you talk about if he doesn't tour with them, right? He could probably make $100 million. If he's, compromising whatever fee that, and even then, when he first started touring with them, everybody there is to see him. I don't care what Aerosmith had. Joe Perry playing solo. Who's watching him play solo guitar? By the way, you don't know shit from Joe Perry if it's not for Run DMC saving their ass in the late 80s with Walk This Way. I wouldn't care. I'm honestly, they would have been. You wouldn't have known from Aerosmith if Run DMC didn't bail them out in the
You
late
won't get the
80s.
counter opinion from me. I think Aerosmith is so overrated.
I mean, they're good musicians, but who's not?
I don't care. They
Who's
just
not?
bore me.
I'm bored with him too. I agree with that. Did you know Joe Perry did this theme for the Spider-Man animated series in the 90s?
No, good for
Just
him.
straight up like generic guitar. It's bizarre. He
Good for him.
basically ripped off the old Spider-Man theme from the 60s and did like a variation on it for this 90s show.
Hmm. Marvel
Bre-
residuals. Good for him.
Brendan's quoting Bobby the Brain Heenan here, Sarah. Do you mean a harlot like Cheryl Roberts?
Okay, okay. Anyway, I watch old Bobby the Brain Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon clips
They're the
from
funniest
Primetime Wrestling.
comedy team ever.
If you can, go find their WrestleMania 4 episode of that. It's on YouTube. He's hilarious. What a
Um,
duo.
you want to put a smile on your face, like just inexplicable smile on your face, or some crooked grin. Watch Bobby the Brain Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon for even 10 minutes. Go back and forth, and the rapport they have, and the repartee they have, and any situation. It's just so. It's immature. It's just there's nothing like it. I can't. I
Mhm.
have a theory that the dynamic in the TNT NBA studios stole from that. I
Yeah.
think that the producer was a huge wrestling fan. He said, "Let's turn Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal and Ernie Johnson into the old WWF primetime dynamic with Bobby the Brain Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon." They
Mhm.
tried to put Roddy Piper in there, I saw, and I don't remember that well. And it's kind of like I like Piper, but it just kind of
The last thing that show needed was a third voice. As
third
good as he
wheel.
was, I love Roddy Piper. Let me tell you,
I do too.
Portland wrestling guy, I loved him. But it's just he's trying to fit in there, every
Trying too hard,
pause, and
right?
it wasn't the best vehicle for him. But if you
Uh,
want to remove the smile from your face and add some tears to your tear ducts, watch Bobby Heenan's Hall of Fame speech after throat cancer.
he's still crack. He's still Don Rickles up there, right?
Yeah, he did a fantastic job. But oh God.
I remember him the first time I knew Bobby Heenan was the manager of. I think I'm right about this. Nick Bockwinkel, who was that was the AWA wrestling when I was reading the magazines. I didn't. AWA used to be broadcast on ESPN in the earliest days. I don't
Mhm.
know. I'm trying to remember if it was repeats or if it was like live like live to tape or in the same. But anyway, ESPN used to broadcast AWA wrestling, and Bobby Heenan was the manager of Nick Bockwinkel, who was the champion for years and years up there. But before, obviously, he was in the WWF.
Who was he not the manager of though?
Was he ever a good? Was Heenan ever a good guy? Was he ever like considered to be a
I had a
a
baby
baby
face.
face
I
manager?
don't
Like
think so.
he was always considered a heel, right? And a
Yeah.
likable heel, like the most likable heel of all time in a way.
By the way, let me plug them because I'm sure they need my help. Jim Cornette's YouTube show
Oh,
podcast,
that you told me,
the
it's
greatest
great.
thing ever.
Brendan told me to watch it. You told me, and I finally caught a few. You just pretty much Google any wrestling name, and
Mhm.
he's got a commentary on them for like an hour about. I cannot believe the knowledge that guy has about the industry. Oh my God, is it
Yeah.
great? He just knows everything about
It's a good show
everyone
too.
and their history and what year they went, and even when like you couldn't research this stuff like back in the like the early 80s when there was nothing to look at. He knows everything, this guy. And
Yeah.
Jim Ross has a show too.
If you can't find his channel or Google, sorry, I guess it's part of Google. YouTube search his channel, Jim Cornette. All of the thumbnails are like animated, so it's easy to find. But he's got 380,000 followers on YouTube, which is amazing for the top. I guess wrestling's massive on YouTube,
It's
but
way bigger than I thought. The way YouTube covered, like the I guess the views it gets on some of this stuff, it's
mhm.
way bigger than I remember. Because Brendan will verify this. There was like 5 of us in our entire school that watched it. It was it. Like it was like a niche thing, and you were an outlier. It was like a real kind of just like underground, and then it got huge a decade later.
Yeah. Attitude Era is my favorite. I stopped after that. I haven't been back because I can't stand the new shit because it's garbage. This push to make female wrestling just as legit as the man.
Right.
No, I'm not in. But yeah, I listen to those old podcasts. It's great. And JR has a podcast too, where he reviews old pay-per-views. It's the greatest.
A. Smith says, "Is Idaho the KKK territory?" You would know better than I.
Going back to that topic with the militias in Eastern Oregon, I have a job where, I used to, where I have to talk to some of those militia leaders on the phone. That is some of the hardest conversation to engage in, because everything you said, they want the statute. They don't believe in the government, so you can't really say they're Republicans because they want to start their own thing.
Right.
They're insane. They abuse children. There's one case recently where one of the militia leaders, the law enforcement came after him because, the child was emaciated. Now they're full all in anti-government. They want to kill, police officers. It's insanity. So I hope they do break off from Oregon. We don't want them. Good luck, Idaho. Have fun.
There's always this thing that America is going to break off into two different Americas. It's just going to become. It probably should. Close to Idaho. Hooper says Long Island is red. Horrible. It really is. So yeah, he's backing me up on this. I couldn't believe it when I was looking at the map of the election map. I did believe it because I would drive around like Holbrook and shit like that, and that sort of Sachem district, and I'd see Trump signs on front lawns. It's a very white. I'm like, what is this? What is going on? And I realized, that it's a lot whiter, and it was just it was insistent, and it was almost like this kind of what do they call it? This fake tough guy thing, but it's also this toxic masculinity that is so ridiculous, so contrived, and yeah, it's moving towards purple, says John O'Reilly. Yeah, I'd go with that too. Sarah's part of the Oregon secessionist movement and militia. So
no, I'm good
Master
where I'm
Shirley's militant red. I didn't know that, Pooper. That makes sense. Chris D'Elia is canceled, as you should be. He should be canceled just for being a stupid hack and collaborating with Whitney Cummings.
I don't believe D'Elia is canceled. Look at the numbers he still pulls in.
Well, I don't know. I mean, those are pathetic. He wants to be like, regardless of these, like, again, it's just like it's a what do they call it? A grooming and what's the other word for grooming they have? They use in his ilk.
I'm glad I don't know.
He wants to be part of mainstream Hollywood, though, in the worst way, and at least that's out. At least that's out. You could live in this YouTube life and this community and these sycophants but he very much thinks he's going to be like the next Keanu Reeves, and at least that's not available because you talk about Nepo baby, right? His dad was like a super producer and everything.
Yeah,
that guy's the worst. He is the worst. I think I might hate him more than like Jimmy Fallon. Movie moguls, media underestimate the Depp handmaidens.
Mm-hmm.
They do, John, but does it translate to box office? Because where were these idiots during Minamata? We were in City of Lies, and it doesn't seem to translate to box office. You know what I mean? When it's something cerebral, they can't take it. If it's something like deep or cerebral, the Deptford Wives are nowhere to be found. It just doesn't translate to box. You need more than that.
There's a lot of infighting now on the Depp Twitter.
Yeah.
It's popcorn worthy, but yeah, I mean, I don't even know where I was going with that, but it's enjoyable to watch.
Johnny Bombay goes, well, the trial didn't change Depp at all. He's still drugging, skipping shows, showing up late on set, messing with younger girls, Paulina Glenn, anyone. There's supposedly, I think it was Kathy Scott was showing me a picture of him with, I don't, him and his love life is quite an enigma now. We see these teases and these things, pictures of him with women, and they're sure that's his new girlfriend. Once a week, Sarah, would you say there's a new picture of him with some broad at a show, and we are positive that's his new girlfriend, and then that's completely, nixed. 5 days later, no, that's not her, and they move on. And so I don't, you'd think someone like him, you just wouldn't trust another female, even though he is very much it takes two to tango, and everyone's a gold digger, and everyone is. But I'm so tired of every week I see another picture of him with a woman from what's her name, Joelle Rich, who was the anorexic, raven-haired British lawyer that was just up his ass in the vein of Beachy Cold Cloud in the in the Fairfax trial, you saw her in the UK. Everyone's positive that they're dating. That ended up being fake. Every week there's another
I think she
picture.
could fit up his ass.
Huntington Theater holds 2,000, says John O'Reilly. The average ticket price is about $100. So do the math there. What does that come to?
More than I'll ever
Time,
see in my
$2
life.
million.
But, oh God, I don't know.
100 times
No,
2,000 is 2
200,000.
million. No,
2 million.
wait. What am I doing?
I think I'm off too. I don't care. Whatever.
What's 2,000 times 100?
Somebody will tell us. I'm too lazy.
The draw for the Depp band was more than the draw for the band was more for Jeff Beck than Depp. That's boy, that I didn't realize. I don't know how to substantiate that. The Jeff Beck thing is interesting with him too. You can't say that's true about every show, but I believe. I mean, he's there, right? He's looking around. I would think he's taking it in and going, okay, well, there's a lot more Jeff Beck fans here than I thought. But I think it vacillates to every show. Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon are the greatest, says Hooper.
Yep.
Golden Age Wrestling, the best. Aw, brain.
I like them much more than, and I like, Ross and Lawler, but I like they're just the best.
Yes, Arm. AWA was on ESPN in the Showboat Casino in Las Vegas. Really? So that was like a show they did specifically for ESPN from the show? Because if I remember, AWA was supposed to be set in like the Minnesota, Wisconsin area, that kind of thing. So Vegas is kind of out of their territory, isn't it? I don't even know what
I'm not up
Vegas.
on AWA. I'm not sure.
The old territories, I never knew what did California have?
I don't know.
Did they have their own Southwest? I mean, what was their
I'm sure they had
wrestling
something.
division? There's a Pacific Northwest, I remember that. But what was California's wrestling federation before the WWF went national?
The Pacific Southwest. I don't
know. I don't know what California had. Yeah, Gunga didn't like Cornette, Sarah. There's a lot of wrestling fans in here. Botchamania is great top on my Dixie shirts. Idaho
DX t-shirts. You missed the Attitude Era.
Idaho is clan country, says Autobot. I didn't realize that. I knew it's weird over there with like Wyoming and Idaho and stuff. I didn't know. I didn't know it's called clan. I thought Indiana was the birthplace.
Well,
of the clan.
like Oregon, in Idaho, the cities are blue, I believe. And they pretty much determine the elections, but the majority of the states are red.
You have the A. Smith Army, Sarah. You can call it that. Oregon is quite the place. You remember the Rajneesh movement? Rajneesh? What is that?
I do. From like 81 to 88 up in Wasco County, which is, they say, I mean, it gets said, it's said frequently that it was close to Portland. It's not. It's like in the mid-north, up by the Washington border. But you had this cult that was the Rajneeshis that set up an entire town. Eventually, I think it was like the FBI went in and dissolved everything. But yeah, that was the 80s in Northern Oregon.
Because you have a lot of these idiot sovereign citizens out there, Arm. Yeah, that's a good term for it. That's well said.
They are impossible to deal with when you have to. I'm glad I don't have that job anymore.
Brendan says, Heenan's speech posthumously inducting Gorilla Monsoon into the WWF Hall of Fame, possibly during his own induction, is worth a listen. Does he have a separate speech from that about Gorilla Monsoon?
Yeah.
It's not the one. It's not the same speech.
It's not the one I sent you.
Okay.
Back in the day, but it's when Monsoon was inducted. Heenan inducted him.
Because I do remember during his actual speech, like at the end, he says something like, Monsoon.
He wishes Monsoon would still.
It's the only thing that can make this perfect.
Yeah.
Would be if Gorilla Monsoon were here. Monsoon doesn't get enough credit. I mean, he's nice. He's playing a straight man, but he's very funny on his own and just as quick. And he makes it look so easy. He's such an underrated play-by-play guy and very likable guy. And he's just like it's just he's so quick and he's so like the dexterity of him reacting to everything around him when they do those location things. It's so much funny watching those two walk around together and just interact with. You don't know like what's staged and what's not in terms of like what comes up to them and like what. I know a lot of it's staged, but it can't all be staged.
Well, there is the oh God, where WrestleMania was like in the Trump Plaza back in the day,
Yeah, I remember
1988,
that.
I think.
Yeah.
So they did their primetime wrestling show, basically just promoting the pay-per-view as they do. And he is there's a skit where Heenan is trying to check into the Trump Plaza, and she was, Mr. Heenan, we do not have a room for you, you know.
I
And he
love
goes,
I love the acting from the non-wrestler. I
yeah,
love
it's
that.
really bad. But he goes, can it, bimbo? I was like, oh,
Yeah. It's
it's horrible. But
just
oh
get
well.
away with the candid bimbo, and
Yeah.
only he can get away with that.
You sit there, you're so uncomfortable with the way he treats people, but you just know as soon as the camera went off, he's hugging these people and, thanking them and
As
rewarding them
super
in some way.
as super funny and as witty as Gorilla Monsoon is and makes it look effortless, I like when he doesn't quite have the greatest thing to say and he defaults to, "Oh, will you stop, Brain?
Yeah.
Oh, will you stop? Oh, will you stop,
And
Brain?"
Gorilla knows everybody. Like he knows the valet driver,
Yes.
he knows the butler
He's
by their
super
first names.
generous and Brain's super cheap in
Yeah,
every
of course.
situation.
Anyway, sorry, let's get back to
What
Johnny
was the
Depp.
line he goes, Bra Heenan would talk about he's, like, with all these women, and Monsoon would say to him, "Oh, really, Brain? Better looking than some of the barracudas I've seen you with." So we would steal their lingo in high school all the
Mhm.
time and just use it. Barracudas. How funny is that as an insult? Remember Miss Betty? That was his supposed secretary,
Yeah.
which they all claimed, Monsoon had she was fake, that he had no staff and secretary or the Rosati sisters and all. It's just
Mhm.
there's nothing like it to this day.
Yeah.
And speaking of the Hollywood vampires,
Ugh,
so I
I
went and
thought
I
we
gathered
did.
I went and gathered some footage from this past weekend in New
Oh
England.
no.
And before I do, before I do, these we overuse the word douche chills a lot for things and stuff and cringeworthy and which kind of mean the same thing. Can you explain, Sarah, to the humanoids, to quote Bobby the Brain Heenan, what cringeworthy douche chills means?
We'll see it in just a
Physically.
moment.
Just explain to people like what douche chills means.
It's a shiver that travels up your spine, and you're so douched out by the actions of a douche.
Or to your loins, right?
It
Because
doesn't really
isn't that
travel to my
where
loins,
a
no.
tampon would go? Is that what
What?
how it what is that how it was
You
conceived?
mean
Is
a
that it goes to
douche?
you? Yeah, like it's just like it you're shivering in uncomfortability and it goes to your loins,
Oh,
right? Isn't that
right.
douche chill?
Douchebag, I think, is where that originates from.
All right, so as I'm looking for Hollywood vampire stuff, there's one thing I didn't find was him and his security getting out of a vehicle. You never go to if anyone goes on Instagram, there's this thing where here today, gone tomorrow. You see a video or something, and you go back to find it, and it's just gone. I don't understand how to search on Instagram. I really
I
don't.
stay away
I
from it.
I don't. It would seem obvious. There's actually a search function, and you do it, and all it does is look for addresses and not the actual thing you're looking for to take you to the address. So in route to doing this, one of these new just again, this is the very paradigm of douche chills. One of these Deptford wives buys his painting of himself, and how a man can paint something of himself and not able to watch himself in Benny and June, I have no idea how the
Mm,
mind works. I don't buy it. I don't buy that he doesn't watch himself on screen, especially if you're a producer and you have a production company and your name is on it. You have to watch the movie. You have to in order to vet it and see what's going on. If you're running a production company, you have to watch them. So I don't buy that.
well,
And so
you paint your self-portrait because you know that's what's going to make the most money.
so this woman buys his self-portrait and then puts it to music.
Oh God.
And it's music that I mean, it would be funny if the Hollywood Vampires covered George Michael, but get
Now,
over it.
would I buy it if I had the money? Yes.
No, I wouldn't buy it.
I'm not putting it to music though. Yeah.
Can you explain the mind of a female, Sarah? And that she smacks of European Depp fan too, because they do more cringy stuff than the American fan does. How does the female mind work? That I'm going to take this picture he painted of himself that I bought, and I'm going to put George Michael's, not even a George Michael song that a lot of people know, and I'm going to put it on
Yeah.
Instagram, and I'm going to frame it and make it, enlarge it and decrease it and stuff. And how does the female mind work that that's a good, and what are you trying
Well,
to
that's not the
gain from
normal female mind. I think, in my opinion, a lot of that audience makes content like that in the hopes he will see this
right?
and
Right.
reach
So the
out.
bottom line is, okay, right. We talked about this during the trial, right? If I stand up, the bottom line is he's going to see this and I'm going to be the wife after Amber Heard. Right? That's the goal
That's
ultimately
a lot.
underneath it all.
Sadly, that's a big portion of that. Yes, that Twitter group. Yes.
Nice use of purview, John O'Reilly. The first time I ever heard that word was Mueller, was Robert Mueller during the investigations. He kept saying purview over and over again. He's not used to speaking in any way, shape, in long form, and I'd never heard the guy talk. And
I thought
finally, he did a press conference. He must have said purview 6,000 times to deflect from the media.
I thought he was just calling you a pervert who was going to preview something.
Now, did you get the douche chills that we're talking about with that watching? Right? I
Yeah.
mean, is there
Yeah.
anything we overuse that phrase, right? But that is the very personification of douche chills.
Yeah. I will say it looks great in a frame, but I would want a bigger. And I'm sure she spent like $1,000 at least. I'd want a bigger copy.
Music, and I know a decent amount of George Michael music. I don't know that song. Where
Well,
does it
let's
come from?
also. She bought a light to spotlight the artwork.
Right?
That's a new level.
Does anyone know that song besides Sarah? Because I don't
I
know
don't know
that
that
song.
song.
Was it ever played in a top 50, top 40 context of any kind?
He rarely got top 100 after 1995.
Just like you, Sarah, Johnny Bye Bye is always got to take it a little bit further. It could be worse. A group of Deptford wives hovering over their Depp
Ah,
painting, squirting together.
the paint, yes.
Better than some of the Barracudas I've seen you with, says Brendan. Classic, elegant, and timeless. It never gets old. Brendan, you would think that Barracuda word would have taken a turn and transcended the decades, but people don't say it. They don't use it anymore. We got to bring back Barracuda. See, that'd be a great wrestling podcast. Better looking than some of the Barracudas I've seen, or some kind of Bobby Heenanism like that. Jack Kathy Scott, I don't want you to spend that kind of money when you can donate it to the Deppening.
Yeah, well, hey,
He doesn't need your money. Stop donating to millionaires, please. Stop giving money to billionaires or even people who make fun. Stop giving money away to people who don't need it. Stop. This guy can do a Japanese beer commercial tomorrow and make $10 million in 2 hours work. That's the power he still has. That's Mr. I've been canceled. That's what he could have done during Fairfax. He could have done. There's no canceling this. You're just too big. There's no, and Sauvage. And do you know how little work that is and how much money he gets? Stop giving him money. And
nice work
granted,
if
it's
you can
going
get
to
it.
mental health. He shouldn't even be asking for it. Am I right?
You're right, but yeah, I'm not gonna get mad at him for taking an easy job and an easy payday.
But are you going to get mad for him for charging money for paint? I don't care if it goes to charity.
People are buying it.
Oh, God, help me. This is not why you don't have this without the acting, too, by the way. You could give a shit about music, the vampires or painting without the acting prowess. And we're never going to see that again. I'm fearful. I said this last time. It might be 5 years until we see him in another decent role.
Hmm. I'd
If he's
I'd sell
alive.
my soul for $10. So you're asking the wrong person.
If he's even alive in 5 years, knowing what we know about, so lung cancer and how Did you tell me about a cocaine overdose, a wrestling cocaine overdose?
Yeah, Mr. Perfect.
Right. Why is he more healthy? Is he healthier than Kurt Hennig?
I don't know.
He can't be.
I'm more worried about the cigarettes with him.
Both.
I know.
Absolutely perfect. That's another really funny thing that
Those
Kurt Hennig
videos are
montage.
hilarious. He does the dive off everything he does, like he throws the football pass and he runs and catches it himself. That's
my favorite
hilarious.
one. That's my favorite one, the football one, because he's throwing a pass to himself, and they do an edit where who is their wide receiver who is looking at him?
I don't know.
Chris Carter?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Anyway, I laugh at the dive more than the football pass. But sorry, let's get back on topic.
So let me just show you a picture of Depp with Jonathan Shaw. This is the Jonathan Shaw, the gun runner. This is him.
Is this the shirtless photo of Depp?
No, it's his last night.
Damn you.
This is last night. There he is. This is him in modern day with a Hollywood Vampires VIP pass. This is last night. Still, and somehow this Boston is a track. So this is the New York. I think they're in New York tonight. Is it next week or tonight?
Oh, good.
So
Head
it's
over there.
Northeast kind of thing, and this is Ben Chew with Jonathan Shaw in the same show. That's John O'Reilly's colleague, Ben Chew.
Do we really think Ben Chew knows who this guy is?
I do, because he had to deflect from these people. He had to deflect from all the creepy. Again, we say this all the time. He is the worst friend. Depp is the worst friends. He is the worst. He hangs out with the worst people on the face. I would not only would I make over the scripts. I get to choose his friends. How about that? I'm moving in on choosing friends. I get to cut these people out of his life. And
by the end of that, you would be the one. You'd be like his guru, as Howard Stern says.
Doug Stanhope gets to stay, and Downey Jr. gets to stay, and these people, and
he's too busy doing karaoke on Squabble Lane.
I would bring back Bruce Witkin, and I get to bring back friends too.
All right.
We get to sit down, and I get to mediate the problem he has with Bruce Witkin and Sal Janko.
Oh God.
We lose Marilyn Manson. I'm getting rid of Marilyn Manson and Jonathan Shaw and bringing back Bruce Witkin and Sal Janko. That's my first order of business.
All right.
Kathy Scott agrees. She agrees 100% tonight and last night. So there's 2 New York shows. Kathy, where what's the venue? Is it too easy to say Madison Square Garden? Because I don't know if it's.
Would it be Madison Square Garden?
I don't know. It seems like they're not playing the big arenas. It seems like it's a smaller venue.
That's probably what I would do. Just guarantee a sellout.
Is it like Ben was too busy opening an Arby's when this picture was taken?
Yeah, their gyros are great.
So let's get rid of Instagram. I'm sick of looking at it.
You ready to get to the dark topic?
I want to. Well, no, we're going to show you some Hollywood vampire footage from last night.
This is another dark topic.
And so everybody knows Jim Carroll.
Yes.
The Basketball Diaries, which is embarrassingly, you get to see DiCaprio try to play basketball, and that looks ridiculous, just ridiculous in any situation where there's a lot of testosterone. He looks horrible, and can't pull it off. And so this is the Hollywood Vampires doing what is. Let me see here. So he does Heroes, of course. This is a song called People Who Died, which is a Jim Carroll band cover. This guy, ready?
Oh, no.
Depp sings in that.
Sounds okay.
How great is that, Sarah? The Deppening, what do you call it?
Venmo.
Yeah, Venmo's right in the cell phone, and it looks like the person. So you probably know. I walked away for 5 seconds because I had to get a drink.
By the way, I want to encourage people to use the Venmo because we know it's working. Philly fan, proved it's working, so I want to thank him again for that. Feel free to use Venmo. Seems to be easy.
Gungadin says King Norris is opening for him. That's not bad. That's kind of the same. Bethel, New York. Okay, that's like
Now,
upstate. That's like lower upstate. I
he sounds
guess.
okay. His voice is fine. The problem is, how many of these people here at this show know this song?
Well, I mean, this is like exactly what we're talking about the Deptford Wives and these fake fans who latched on during the Fairfax trial, right? I mean, there's people who are huge fans of his that don't know this, like real fans,
I don't know
like
this
me.
song.
I know this song because it's been used in many movies many times.
Oh, okay.
According to Barbara DeRush, it's a punk song from the late 80s, yes. And Dorian Morgan says it's the most cliche Jim Carroll song out there that there is.
Is there
And
another Jim Carroll song?
I mean, that's what they do, though. I mean, this band plays very cookie cutter classic rock covers under the auspices of we're paying tribute to our drunken the Alice Cooper claims he had a. It's the dumbest. It's really just the most ill-conceived, dopiest idea for a band. Our drinking homage to our drinking club brethren because they're all sober except for Depp. Although I love how great was that Bruce Whitkin blowing up Joe Perry's cocaine spot during the.
Well, speaking of Joe
Oh, that
Perry,
was so funny.
he's looking like a dirty Q-tip.
Suzanne Allison, if you're listening, and Lori Allison, Lori Allison Depp, if you're listening. Props to Bruce Whitkin if you can pass along for blowing up Joe Perry's cocaine spot. That's tough love, and bring back Bruce Whitkin to this show. By the way, do we need? They need a sixth guitarist too. So let's bring Bruce back.
And by the way, for our new listeners and those two wonderful people that you just mentioned, don't be offended. We're just not fans of the vampire stuff.
No, we're fans of Bruce Whitkin though, and the Whitkins and the Allisons. We're very big fans of theirs.
I hope someday they can mend the fractured friendship, but
I told you I'm gonna mediate it. That's my first order of business. It's to replace Marilyn Manson and Jonathan Shaw with Bruce Whitkin and Sal Jenko again. That's my first order of business. And they need a sixth guitarist. So let's bring Bruce back. Let's start a hashtag bring Bruce Whitkin back to the Vampires. Right?
sure, we'll go along with that.
Let's see if we can start a movement. Isabeau, welcome 8394. The cost of that painting is $2,000 in US money.
Yep.
$2,000. Now, as much of a mensch as Depp can be, it doesn't occur to him that that's not a good look. Not just the paint, but the money and the very generic. I want a paper trail of that charity. No, I want a mental health charity paper trail. I said too, you individually get to use it, so you get to tap into. I get to use $100 for a psychiatric appointment tomorrow.
Okay.
Specifically, you have to. The individual people get to tap into this supposed. If you were involved with the charity, wouldn't you want to know every morsel of every single dollar of where it was going and
I'm
how
sure
they
there
were
is
used?
somebody that's handling that.
Doesn't it seem like nobody keeps up with it? They want the cachet of saying I donated to a charity, but nobody actually follows up on any of this shit.
Mm-hmm.
It really feels like that. Jamie asks, Depp hates Leonardo DiCaprio? In my mind, he does, Jamie, and I'm hoping that he does, and I think he does, and I can kind of like. I might have a show called
Didn't
Depp
he make
versus
didn't he make
DiCaprio.
statements, anti-Depp Leo statements that were released at the trial?
Okay, Sarah's right. That's one instance. One of the gaggle of people that he accused Amber Heard of cheating on with is DiCaprio. So we had like Channing Tatum and Billy Bob Thornton, and Peter Berg didn't come up. That was before any of this went down, right, on Friday Night Lights.
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, you're trailing off at it. And it goes on and on. But he called DiCaprio and Channing Tatum were collectively tied, and this was released text as he is now. This causes a huge rift in Hollywood, and Pumpkinhead and Potato Head. I believe DiCaprio was Potato Head and Channing Tatum was Pumpkinhead. So he
Okay.
accuses Channing Tatum, he accuses DiCaprio of a casting couch scenario with Amber Heard auditioning for a movie where he was a producer. And then we all know about Magic Mike 2, where he does, I mean, it is beyond the suggestive
It's
lap dance,
uncomfortable.
uncomfortable lap dance. And so, yes, we can bring receipts where he does. I'll go as far to say that this started when DiCaprio tried to portray Depp and Kate Moss's hotel thing in that horrible Woody Allen movie, Celebrity. So I don't know why I'm the only one that knows this. He basically played Depp in a Woody Allen movie, who we hate anyway. And we're going to
Hmm.
tie that into Roman Polanski later. And so it is a very sort of oafish, lazy portrayal of Depp trashing a hotel room in New York to portray the thing that went down in '94 when Depp got arrested with Kate Moss. And then so without saying his name, it is clearly no delusional, oh, you're thinking Depp on the brain. No, he's unquestionably trying to portray. So there's no way that Depp could look at that favorably, right? Who would how could you possibly take that any other way than, oh, I'm going to get you back?
Hmm.
They were in Gilbert Grape together, obviously we know that, but there's very, very, very little chummy footage of them. I remember watching, I think it was the Golden Globes, and he was nominated for, I want to say, that horrible when the tourist and the whole thing with Ricky Gervais and everything. And they had, they had the velvet rope where the movie stars are separated from the TV stars, and there was this table. And during the 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 allure of the Golden Globes is when they go to a commercial, you get to see the stars intermingling with each other. And so he was sitting at a table right by Martin Scorsese, and DiCaprio was there, and I kept looking at that the whole time. They did not make eye contact once, shake hands, embrace. And so I think I don't think it's a jump to say that he hates his guts. And just if we just went off the text, and DiCaprio got wind of that, didn't they want him to testify initially?
I don't remember if DiCaprio was on that list.
Because the names they were selling the trial on was Elon Musk, James Franco, and initially I believe they wanted DiCaprio and Channing Tatum to testify
Hmm.
about what went on.
Should have brought in
And
Kevin Nash because it was also rumored that on the set of that movie she slept with him.
Now Sarah says Kevin Nash. Now explain why you said Kevin Nash.
He
who he
was in
is.
that Magic Mike crap.
Yes, he was one of the strippers in that, and
Ugh.
he is a wrestler.
Yeah,
Who
formerly
was
Diesel, Kevin Nash, WCW, WWEF, whatever.
from what I understand,
NWO.
and I didn't watch this era, he's considered to be like the least liked champion or something of all time.
Yeah, that's just when WWF was at its lowest when he was the champion.
Right, and that helped kill wrestling for a few years because he was the champion.
Yeah, they didn't know how to market him.
Okay, yeah, I think this begs for a show, Sarah, and I don't know, maybe sooner than later, DiCaprio versus Depp, and we go into all this stuff because I keep innuendoing it, and I need to, and I'm explaining myself very well, and I think I have a lot of, my receipts, but maybe we can go further into it with documentation if people don't believe.
Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, so I can. Yeah, I mean, I make no secret how much I hate DiCaprio, and it just gives me an excuse to piss on him for another 3 hours. And how overrated he is.
I hate the song.
Now, how many black people do you think are at this
I don't know.
performance? Now, think about this, right? The black people would be repelled by black people. Kryptonite would be two things, right? New Hampshire and New England, and this, right? I mean, this music, this song, this. I bet you there is 0.0 black people in any of the New England performances. I think occasionally you'll get your
Crazy Robin might be there.
Crazy, you get your Crazy Robins every now and again, but not here. This is New England. This is the Hollywood Vampires in New England. I think 0 black people in the entire New England tour. They should have a VIP section, Depp's black friends, in one section altogether. So you see like Stephen Williams, Holly Robinson, Charles Dutton,
From 30 years ago.
Yeah, it doesn't, right? Anybody he's ever worked with, Forrest Whitaker.
This song gets stuck in my head. I'm coming after you.
It's gonna get a lot of bad songs.
I hear you.
The way Depp sings now is he's channeling
You.
he kind of does. So in order to get over his supposed stage fright, he has to sound British, right? So even when he's doing guys who don't, he sings, his default singing style is the British Bowie voice, even when it doesn't call for it, if you notice. Let's get more guitars, guys. We need more guitars. Let's again. Bruce Wickham would fit right in.
Can Joe Perry at this stage please put a shirt on?
He's 73, I think.
Mm.
Yeah, this is ground zero for Joe Perry, Barbara DeRush. This is right. New England Aerosmith is known as. I think Steven Tyler is actually from Yonkers, though.
I don't know.
Yonkers is a New York. What would you call it, guys? New York. What would you call it, tri-staters? Yonkers is like in between the Bronx and upstate. It's weird. It's like not, I don't know what you call it. It's not a borough, but it's not New York City kind of, and it's not upstate, and it's this no man's land. I never understood what Yonkers was. There's Lauren Marie, speaking of upstate New York. Saratoga. Welcome home, Lauren Marie.
Is Depp playing?
I don't know. I never know the answer to that. We've sat in with a couple of musicians looking at this, and they swear they can't tell where. And a lot of times I'll read comments on YouTube videos that show the Hollywood Vampires, and it's always a huge debate. People cannot tell he's even plugged in, and it's we've had Bon Jovial on here to try to analyze it, and he'll go that he's playing, that he's not playing. It's just, it is almost glorified air guitar, and there's 7 guitarists.
Mm-hmm.
Does the world have too many guitarists? Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
It does. Hold on a second. We got a very important question. Kathy Scott goes, I just asked Lori about Bruce, and she said no. No to me mediating it. No to them being friends again.
Probably to the friends again.
To, because there's a lot of layers to this. Is he plugged in? Y.68 doesn't know either.
I couldn't tell you. I know nothing about guitar.
How about this answer? How about this, Kathy? I think about this a lot. Would you rather see the Kids or the Flame? The Kid, we'll call it the Kids. Would you rather see the Kids tour, or would you rather see the Hollywood Vampires tour?
Can I just stay home?
More dynamic. Oh, them playing together. Never again. Never again. Okay. Kathy Scott. Thank you, Kathy, for being so on the spot. You didn't have to ask her that quick, but I'm really happy.
Well, you don't know if that just happened.
No, I think she just did it. I believe she just did it. I mean, it's possible she asked her in the past. Yeah. I don't know. I think much harsher things and friendships have been brought back together than that. I mean, their history. That's a long history. I could probably find people in his. I think Jonathan Shaw embarrassed him far more than Bruce Witkin did. So I don't know how you could be Marilyn Manson, right? I mean,
Well, I think the argument is on Depp's side is money was taken without his knowledge.
right. And
I can see why, if that's the truth, and who knows, I can see why that would sting a little extra.
Bruce Witkin's argument, I'm not speaking for him. I'm not speaking for BW, but if he would say, "Well, you put me head of Unison Music. If I'm to do my job, then I have dominion over. That's the job, right? I have to. I'm authorizing it because you put me in the head of this."
Yeah, I
That
don't
would
know.
be his retort back to it. Like I would think, like that's too oafish a spending, and you've been friends to do that. Like I can't see someone doing that. Something we don't know the whole story. We need to know more about this. If you had a friend who made it like this and you were put it in the would would you touch that much money and not have some kind of rationalization behind it? Not you wouldn't think you'd get caught under his nose.
I would be way too worried that I would get
Yeah.
caught.
We got to know more. We got to know more.
We will someday when we get that interview.
They have so many mutual friends too. Wouldn't that have to cause a huge rift between their mutual friends?
Well, unfortunately for Bruce, I think if sides get picked, I think one
Yeah.
side will be the clear winner.
The last time I saw something on Bruce Wiccan a few days ago. I think about him all the time. He looks like a friend I had who was a lead in a band. I love these guys. They're great. They're better than these guys too, by the way. Called Jonas Grumby. My old friends from the late '90s, early 2000s, and the lead singer is a guy named Matt Schwartzer, and he looks exactly like Bruce. I cannot stop thinking about him. And he was the lead. He's a great guitarist, great lead singer, really interesting guy, very eccentric guy, and his really brains behind the operation. Not the brains, but Matt Kaplan was the bass guitarist and songwriter, and he wrote a song called Aquaman Tan,
Oh,
which is
God.
so good. You would love it if we could. If I could find it, I don't know if it's on YouTube. And he reminds Matt Schwartz, the lead singer, he is Bruce Witkin reincarnate. It's unbelievable how much and that's why one of the reasons I have a soft spot for Bruce Witkin is he reminds me of my friend Matt Schwartzer. It's uncanny how he looks like him, and it's the same kind of just very kind of quirky, eccentric guy, Jewish. He is from Plainview, Long Island, which is the home of Andy Kaufman.
Mm-hmm.
Long Island is a who's who of celebrities. When someone says they're from Long Island, you have a distinct advantage of becoming famous. Don't let anybody tell you that there's some underdog thing happening. Like name any town, you could probably pluck a celebrity out of there. Johnny Bye Bye says, yes, I think the butt plug. There's no guitar on the. What they called the joke for Pirates of the Caribbean was butt Pirates of the Caribbean for a while.
Hmm.
He can't play with real musicians. He's there for the draw. I think I'd call Bruce Witkin a real musician, Hooper. But he's certainly there for the draw. There's no question about it. And if we could substantiate the ticket sales that come from people just trying to gawk at the star of Pirates of the Caribbean as opposed to it would be I'm going with 8, even though it's New England and that's where Joe Perry's from, I'm going with 85-90%. Arm, that's a different story. Johnny Depp has one wait, that's a different Johnny Depp than the one from 7. Yeah, right, Kathy, definitely. Definitely not the same guy. And I remember Sarah and I both analyzed, and I'm not a body language guy. I think it's overrated. Like I'm uncomfortable. If you try to analyze me, I have the same look on my face all the time. I'm just like blank. I'm dead inside, and I don't smile a lot. And
You're the
I'm
opposite
looking
of dead
down, but
inside.
you can't analyze me by looking at my face. I really believe that. That's not some backward compliment of me. I just think I have a sort of blank, bemused look on my face all the time. So you're not going to get that true story of what's going through my head by looking at me. It's almost like bragging that you can figure someone out by looking at their body line. I don't think it's that easy. I think it's way overrated, the body language thing. You ever see these body language video people are analyzing? Oh, I could tell that she looked off to the right, and then they were doing that with the Amber Heard stuff all the time.
Yeah, I
It's
fell into that
such
trap.
horseshit. It's such horseshit.
Mm-hmm.
It's total fucking scam of the highest orders. Arm, you have a better chance. Oh, Gunga Din, that's such a funny line. Arm, you have a much better chance of getting peace between Grace and Monique. That's for everybody. Bruce Witkin and Depp patching it up. What is a better chance, Grace and Monique or Bruce Witkin and Depp? Kathy Scott says Lori and her sister Suzanne both wished him. What is H bad?
Happy birthday.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I think maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
No, you're right. You got it. I thank you for interpreting that, because I don't believe I could have done that on my own. Even though you should be able to figure it. Wished him happy birthday. Right. All you got to do is reverse the. Yes, that's exactly what she means. On his birthday, with no acknowledgement back. I wonder, does Depp take out his problems with Bruce on Suzanne? You wonder. And when did he write the forward for Suzanne? Was he on the outs with Bruce while he wrote the forward for? It's always tough. Like, you ever deal with like friends who get divorced and you like them both and you got to choose sides? That's rough
I've been through
rough
it.
ground to tread on, and people have to choose sides because you like both people.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really rough thing. Well, they go through that on those housewife Yenta shows you watch, right? They have the breakups, and then the rest of the cast have to choose between the two.
Yeah, but that's what happened when I divorced.
Hooper Arm is famous. He's from Long Island. Thank you, Hooper. My town of Sayville, Long Island, I believe. And again, this is like she had one what's the she had one save ferry ride and out to Hollywood. Is Melissa Joan Hart is from my town, supposedly. There's been no sightings of her. Apparently she went to elementary school for 3 years, and then she uses it as the hometown. She was the Sabrina witch, Sarah. I don't think she had a film career at all.
No.
Yeah, that was.
You have a Melissa Joan Hart painted mural in your town?
Why can't we have Jennifer Love Hewitt from our town instead?
They're both overrated.
Yes. Jennifer Love Hewitt, by the way, one of the original, give her credit here, Deptford Wives. She was a super fan of her. I remember a story about her. Does anybody remember this? She was so obsessed with Depp in the 90s. The 90s, this is before any of this shit, when real fans were fans. She went to one of his sets. I believe it was. I'm guessing, because I want to say Blow. One of these kind. It had to be an LA shot thing, because I don't know why she would have been in the area of. Could have been Gilbert, right? Nah, that's too long ago. I'm gonna go with the Blow era. It's not necessarily, doesn't have to be Blow. And she knocked on his trailer door. The agents hooked it up or whatever. She was famous enough. Such a fan, so freaked out by his presence, she ran away without saying anything in embarrassment. Couldn't articulate a sentence. Now, this is way before. Like, when you said you were a fan of his, it was really like it was original. It was like a unique thing. And it was like an it was when he hadn't had a huge hit yet. And that, I got to give her credit. That's the first time I remember that. This is like late 90s we're talking.
Mm-hmm. Do you think, I would have hoped that instead of her running away, that he would have been able to rehearse for the next scene by sampling the merchandise off her cans?
Ida Greenfeld.
You just ignore everything I say.
No, I was just looking at Ida Greenback. So welcome. Say that again, Sarah. I'm sorry.
No, let's move on.
Spinning too many plates. I think you said Depp wants to motorboat. Captain Jack Sparrow wants to motorboat Jennifer Love Hewitt's cans. If I heard one word, and I had to interpret what
you heard
just
cans.
Said.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah, could you imagine, like, he was this crazy psycho sexual misconduct like maniac, and he just like motorboated her by the way, I believe she was underage at the time. She was either barely legal or Yeah, never. I'm sure Johnny Bye Bye is going to have a comment about that. But he, as far as I know, graciously answered the door, knew it was coming, and then said, "Okay, I'll, thank you," and graciously, and she just panicked and ran away. That's the story. Ida Greenback says, "Perhaps arm you have a flat affect arm, although I have no idea what." Is it, Oh, okay. She's like, "What I look like." Is there a picture of what I look like?
Yeah, on the
Where is it?
Venmo.
It's in the Venmo.
Yes, to
But
identify
that's like
the
the late.
Venmo.
That's like 2009. I think the picture's from.
It's all right. I have photos of you. I'll post them if you want.
I've been compared to anyone from Joe Rogan to Ben Affleck to Adam Sandler to these are the names.
Were these people
that I
blind?
don't.
I don't see that at all.
Those are the celebrity comparisons I've gotten over the years. Somewhere sitting in there.
I think you are, and many people may not know this, they'd have to Google it. You are the mirror image of Nathan Zagura from the Browns.
Nathan Lane.
Zagura.
What?
Nice try.
Jones Rooney says, back when Russell Crowe had his band, right, 50 odd foot of grunts or something. Welcome, Jones Rooney. They toured, people lined up for blocks and blocks and blocks and waited all day just to hear that bullshit, just to watch a glimpse of Russell Crowe. You have to. Jones Rooney's right. You got to compare this to Keanu Reeves and Dog Star, and it really is. This is Keanu. The difference is Dog Star didn't have famous musicians around Keanu Reeves. That's the difference. And either did Russell Crowe, right? It's just him. That's the difference. It makes it worse because he's around iconic rockers who are getting upstaged by his movie star fame. So they have to pretend that they're on equal footing. That's the difference. So that's why I would rather see the kids tour. Then it would really put it to the test. And you get those guys. It would be giving his old bandmates from the kids a boost in their golden years, right? It would allow, Bruce Whitkin. Well, Bruce doesn't. Bino, what's his name? Bino. Oh God, what's his last name again? Oh, I'm stuck on this guy, Bino.
Vino Sarducci? I don't know.
By the way, I want to. If anyone who listened to our Seinfeld watch along, Lizzie Grubman is who I couldn't remember yesterday. When we talk about Jewish American princess, born on third base, New York, Hamptons, privilege, and Shoshana Lonstein is the paradigm of that. I said number 2 might be Lizzie Grubman.
It didn't come to you in 3.5 hours?
That's funny because I did think of it like in the first hour, and we did do the show for like 2 hours more after that, and it didn't.
I will say though, everybody go to patreon.com/WinoForever. It's $2. Arm does an amazing Seinfeld recap show with the one and only David.
And we like to have people sit in if you want. I know it's a big commitment, but it's a lot of fun. And no, I don't believe there's ever been a better Seinfeld podcast than this. And without bragging, and it's only going to get better, we're just dissecting this like nobody else has. And I really know that show better than I want to believe. I don't know it as well as I know Jump Street, but it's close. And I'm from that area. So you're getting I've lived in the city for 6 years. I've also lived on Long Island. So it's a better perspective from someone who knows that landscape. I just know that show way better than I thought. Billy Idol one time lived in Patchogue. I didn't know that, John O'Reilly. I didn't know that. Did you know Billy Idol lived in Patchogue?
Well, if you didn't know that, why would I know that?
If you gave me 1,000 guesses, I would. What is Billy Idol doing in Patchogue? Patchogue, Sarah, is the town next to mine.
Okay.
Sayville. It's just east of it, and it's a really big town. It's like now where they have a big theater now where a lot of big acts play on Main Street, and it's turned into the Main Street area is really built up, and it really looks almost like a gentrified Astoria, Queens now. If you walk through this main drag, it's pretty crazy. Probably gotten very expensive too, I'm sure.
Let me also request, while we're kind of still on the Patreon, the next Jump Street episode we're doing is the AIDS episode, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and there are a couple of listeners that wanted to join us for that.
Big disease, little name.
Yes, please remind me, send us an email of who wanted to join. I am so sorry, but we've been talking about it for months. I don't want to miss anybody.
Kathy Scott, who also go by Southern Girl. How dare you? I thought it was 2 different people. and David, who's a huge AIDS guy. He loves
Okay,
his
but if
AIDS.
there's anybody else and I feel like I'm missing somebody, please send us an email at thedeppening@gmail.com.
Yep. Or go through the episode list, if you would, and look at the premise and one you might remember and say, like, I like this one. I would like to sit in on that. I remember this. I have some opinions on this topic or this particular storyline. And whether it's Seinfeld or, of course, Jump Street or 90210, who the next one is that baseball episode. I'm not am I on that show or not?
Yes, you
What
are.
is my
And then after that, we have the explosion of 90210 episode. So I got to get through the baseball episode, and then we have the spring dance. So I already have a panel going for that. A bunch of our longtime loyalists on
who?
this channel, I want it to be a surprise, are going to join us for the panel on the spring dance episode.
Let's wrap this fucking Jim Carroll song up.
Yeah, let's go.
I think it was Hooper that said he needs closed captions for this. Could have been Dorian Morgan. I forget which was it. You need closed captions for this. Talk singing.
Yeah. You. Sounds exactly like you doing that.
How great would it be? They're missing out on the fun. They're not doing creative enough stuff with this dumb band. You bring up when Camille Vasquez comes to one of these shows, right? You bring her up and she takes the mic and just says, objection, 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 and have her sing backup vocals, and then you put that in.
Oh, God.
How great would that to sample her objections and Sarah, would you do a Jennifer Love Hewitt on Hooper?
No, because the net would probably fall on me outside Hooper's door and he'd drag me in.
Are you accusing him of having like Billy Joel, Easter Alexa, like fishing nets that swoop down on people
No,
when they come
Scooby Doo net.
Oh, okay.
Look at Joe Perry backing that bony ass up.
When you watch him walking, look at those skinny jeans he has on.
Gross. Those little old man legs.
What do you think he weighs?
I don't know. More than me. Or less than me, probably.
What does he get out of this at this point? It's just like something to do, or like, what do you? This can't be. It's not creative, fulfilling on any like because you're doing covers in the exact same way. There's no. I don't. Yeah, I was at before somebody talked about somebody was annoyed. I think it was talking about the $2,000. Why does he need the money? Shit, who was it? I moved and I wanted to see it. I think it was either. Crap, I got a speed read. Sarah, see if you can scroll up. Someone was talking about the $2,000. They're pissed at why he needs the money. I can't remember who it was.
I don't remember that.
I was talking about how.
Okay,
I just
move on to the next thing.
Optics.
I'll look for it.
Okay. Okay.
Oh God.
Okay, you know what he's doing here. Tell everybody what he's doing.
Yes, Jerry Judge. You hear some woman screaming Jerry because that's the only person they know who's died in Depp's life is Jerry Judge. Because it was mentioned during the it was mentioned during the trial. So hence the song, all the people who died, they're going to show Jerry Judge.
So now somehow the whole band has a reverence for his security guard, who they might have known briefly. He basically is, if I had to explain him, so he was Depp's head of security. He's basically if Ronnie limo driver Mund a cross between Ronnie Mund and Alfred Pennyworth,
Yeah.
Batman's butler, and he's somewhere in between that. He has a British accent, of course. If he's in Deppside, the chances are. I was reading up on Malcolm Connolly, Sarah. He's
Mhm.
basically a Scottish bouncer, and I don't understand. Like, you really can't find more intimidating he's got to be. I did the math on when he was, his background. He has to be 70 something.
Okay.
He might be in his early 70s. Are you really? Is that the best security you come? Do you have him just because he has a Scottish accent? Is that?
He's loyal.
I guess he's loyal, but I'm telling you, Sarah, it's so bizarre. You need just the optic intimidation factor of, I mean, get like Arvydas Sabonis for Christ's sake, right? I mean, this guy, I think he's 5'9". He's
Mhm.
got to be 70 something years old, and because he has a Scottish accent, Depp needs him as security. So Jerry Judge, like I said, he's Alfred Pennyworth meets Ronnie Mund Limon, and he was the head of security, and he was old in his last days. Like, I used to feel sorry for him. Like, he was trying to do crowd control, and he's like, what was he, Sarah? 73 during this
I'm not sure.
mid 70s, and they're playing good cop, bad cop, and so the move is Depp wants to sign autographs till Kingdom Come, and Jerry Judge has to play bad cop and pull him away into the limo, and he's got to, like, again, he's sort of running a security team, and there are people who are there, and yeah, so if you're a fan of Depp's, you've seen Jerry Judge on the kind of with him the whole time, and you've become, so now we're all doing homages to him during these concerts, and these Deptford wives now are pretending to be fans of Jerry Judge's. Right?
But do the other band members get to,
Do their
Jerry Judge was a great guy by all accounts. We all know this. But do the other band members get to do tributes to people that have died in their life?
their security, right? I mean,
Not even their security, just people in their lives.
or their lives, right? Probably not. Well, I mean, that's supposed to be the gist of this band is where it's an homage to our dead drinking dinosaur rock buddies from the 70s.
Mhm.
That was supposedly the
That would
premise,
actually
but
be a moving moment, like a montage of all their friends that have passed away from bad choices.
I shouldn't be laughing, but so they do a profile of him in a North Face kind of rain jacket hybrid thing, just looking to the heavens. Very good.
All these women, this is the only person they know, and they only know it from the trial.
I know. I can't. Screaming Jerry with no reverence or no reference point from the old days. I can't.
Jerry. Jerry was a blue dog.
But also too, like, Depp's doing this. It's almost kind of pompous or to assume that everybody in this crowd knows who he is.
I will
Like,
say, the Jerry Judge tributes during these shows, it's been an ongoing thing for a year at least. So, I get the death affected him deeply. But again, there are, for every Jerry Judge, there are 20 other people in every band member's life that's on that stage
right.
that maybe deserve also their photo up there or to be part of a montage. Put Jerry in a montage.
Depp himself has, every month we have every 2 weeks there's a huge person in his life, even if he's worked with him once, if it's a Ray Liotta or an Anne Heche or Frederick Forrest, for Christ's
All
sake.
of those people could have been in that.
Yeah, you could do a Frederick Forrest homage. That's what I would like to see.
Now, would I want him to talk to me like that in bed? Yeah.
We miss you more than all the others. This song is for you, my brother.
Oh, God.
Jim Carroll, who's supposed to be this like virtuoso poet, put pen to paper and wrote a lyric out that said, "All the people who died They were all my friends and they died. That's a lyric
And
he
you
wrote
just
out.
repeat it 25 times.
Like a 12-year-old wrote that lyric. That's a
Yeah.
now you
Well,
coming
he was
from
high on
this
heroin.
you and Autobot coming from the Seattle scene, right? Where it's just like the greatest lyricist of all time. Could you imagine Eddie Vedder writing a lyric? They were all my friends and they
It's in the
died.
Puget Sound water. You can't recreate that.
My favorite, I agree, John O'Reilly. I agree. He's talking about my favorite Depp security guy was the black guy who got his phone back in the homeless person. That story is one of the more underrated. His black security guard was Buck Holland. Um, Sterling Jenkins
Mm-hmm.
is who you're talking about.
Wasn't his name
Uh,
in the Peacock movie like Roger?
yeah, well, there's a video. You remember uh, our friend from Holland, Ms. Vandervoort? She gave us a video of there was an assistant on that worked on a boat, and they went on a Italian cruise, and they're
Mhm.
hanging out with Starling Jenkins the whole time, and he's playing guitar with him. Remember Missy Vandervoot?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right. She showed us a link to one of the people that worked on an Italian kind of yacht, and they went on like this is like knee deep in the negativity, the Amber Heard negativity. And Starling Jenkins are hanging out at this thing, and he's playing guitar with him. I agree with John O'Reilly. That's easily my favorite Depp security so far.
Yeah, he had to trudge through the tent city in downtown LA to get this phone.
Brendan writes, second guitarists are like company vice presidents. There can be an infinite number of them, but regardless, they improve upon nothing. And second or third or fourth guitarist in these cases.
Well, if they're skilled, a good rhythm guitarist will round out the sound, but I don't know that's the case here.
I'd agree. And Matt goes, I would love to live in New York for 6 months. They would be lucky to have you live there. I've been to Chicago once, and to compare it to New York, and a lot of the people would say Chicago is a cleaner, friendlier New York City. A much cleaner, much friendlier New York City.
I couldn't afford the
That's
New York City
comparison.
rent split 6 ways in 800 square feet with 5 other roommates. I'd be out, the second month. I'd
All
be
you got to be
evicted.
is a waitress at Central Perk, Sarah, and you get free
Yeah.
rent in the West Village.
Yep.
Ida says she's Gary Sinise is from her hometown, and he is an asshole. I do
Hmm.
not like him either. I agree with you 100%. He hasn't.
Captain Dan,
You
come
never
on.
see him act anymore, and he's like this Mr. fucking
On
Badge
the,
Bunny, stolen valor. He thinks he's in the military. He's fucking so. I hate him too. I agree
he's
with you,
living on
Ida.
the fumes of
F
the
him
Forrest Gump checks.
and 9/11.
9/11.
Every day is 9/11 to Gary Sinise.
Oh, okay.
It's the best. 9/11 is the best thing to ever happen to Gary Sinise.
Okay.
Sue Monster, hey, a little behind here, but can I ask how much the Venmo for all the men, and she hates men like I do, of the Deppening? She wants to know about the Venmo, Sarah.
How
Sue
much do I
Monster.
need to Venmo for all the men of the Deppening? Whatever you want to do. Every penny is appreciated.
You couldn't possibly name your price with Sue Monster because she.
I hate men, but
I can't wait to get. That's a Subway episode of Seinfeld, by the
Oh,
way.
yay.
Can't wait to get to that. You'd think John O'Reilly would want to sit in the Seinfeld episode. And so Sue Monster, whatever pics, Sarah, pics of someone. Pics of you guys. She wants pictures of you shy guys. I'm a guy who likes to pee break, Sue Monster. And when you're tethered to the camera, you forfeit the freedom of going to the bathroom.
Picking your
If I'm
nose.
picking your nose, I'm going to if we're doing 4-hour shows, you really think I'm not going to the bathroom while I'm sucking back this iced coffee the whole time? I don't know. I'm not vain enough to want to see my stupid face. I don't know what it does for us.
Well,
visual-
the shows that show the faces tend to make more in chats. So we do sacrifice that. We also sacrifice, you go through the chat and put everything up, unlike most shows who make you pay to,
right.
be acknowledged. So, but mainly, the show, like I said, the shows that show themselves and hike the tits up and, put the filter on that blinds everybody because you're so washed out. Anyway, I digress. Those shows tend to get the most super chats.
Yes, John O'Reilly. Starling Jenkins accompanied Amber Heard to Australia. Yes, yes. He's around for a lot of stuff. His testimony is an interesting thing to go back to. I believe he was in Massachusetts. He was in the Whitey Bulger private jet stuff, right, Sarah?
Mm,
Starling, wasn't he? He was in on
I
that too,
don't
right?
know.
I
I
mean,
don't
it's
know
there's
for
more
sure.
than one security that goes, but yeah, he also went to Coachella with them, with the
Hmm.
Coachella con artists. He was guarding them at Coachella.
Yep.
Starling. I agree.
Hooper, thank you, Hooper. Did we get to the monthly goal? Yes. Thank you to Venmo and Hooper here. We hit the monthly goal. Thank you guys,
Thank
everybody.
you for all your support and all. By the way, Hooper, do you want to participate in the fantasy football gunk league coming up soon?
The
I'm gonna
Deppening fantasy
Deppening
football.
Radio Gunk Fantasy Football League. We're shooting for 16 most, hopefully 14, minimum 12.
You need to start this earlier than last year, so you're not
Yes, I'm
running
going to start it
around like
earlier. I wasn't
crazy.
sure I was going to do it last year, but I am sure now. I'm really, really like just hankering for the NFL. I really miss it more than ever right now.
I do too. NBA sucked a load of crap,
It was the
especially this
worst.
off season.
I said that to you last year. The NBA had the worst season in the history of the sport, in my opinion, in terms of the load management and things that didn't happen and kind of results. I actually the year before was really. I think I hate the year before that more.
The Golden
I think
State.
I hate 2022 more than 2023 was bad. I think 2022 was worse. I couldn't do a fantasy basketball league because load management killed it, and that
Hmm.
doesn't get brought up enough in how the kind of the load management era and the fake injuries. I was embarrassed to execute a fantasy basketball league because of the injuries, the fake injuries and load management. Thank you, Sue Monster.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thank
Sue
you.
Monster.
Just
Barbara,
cause is my favorite reason for a donation. Thank you.
Barbara DeRush goes, oh, good. John O'Reilly will do it. Yes. Thank you, John. You're in. Absolutely in. Arm, get behind your computer screen. I have one of those black dick microphones as a backup, that everybody uses to pretend you're fucking cousin
That's a
Brucey.
weird comparison.
And I was gonna do a Howard impersonation where I hide behind it and just like you just have your head like popping over and the schnozzle is just to goof on it. Met the Mets shit the bed. What point are we on? We're at the what are we halfway point now in Major League
No.
Baseball?
Oh, I thought you meant the show.
Like the 81
I
game.
don't know.
We're past that. It's almost
I
August.
don't pay attention to
Are they
baseball.
100 games in? There's 300 games left, Sarah, in the Major League Baseball season.
Hmm.
Thank you, Sue Monster, once again. This is Depp doing, once again, Weekend the Heroes. They're just one day. I'm getting a little tired of this. Dorian Morgan says it's an utter waste of time musically. I didn't put the right one. Let me get rid of this.
Thank you.
Can I just give you a little background on this Jim Carroll, who this is based on?
If you'd like
So
to.
he is from the Basketball Diaries, the movie DiCaprio did. So this is who did this song. This is Jim Carroll here. We bring him up a lot. Let's say who he is. Born in 1949, he died in 2009 at the age of 60. American author, poet, punk musician, all these things. Jim Carroll is best known for his 1978 The Basketball Diaries, which inspired the 1995 film. Carroll was born in a working-class family of Irish descent and grew up in New York's Lower East Side. That's where Jonathan Shaw has his tattoo parlor. He was about in 6th grade. He moved to Inwood in Upper Manhattan. He's taught by the LaSalle Christian Brothers in 1963. He briefly attended Wagner, which is in Staten Island, I believe, and Columbia. He dated Patti Smith, who is a friend of Depp's. Surprise, surprise. She's one of his confidants. He brings up a lot. I don't know her music that well. What is Patti Smith's big song I should know? These are all
I have shame when I say
okay.
this. Trust me. And people will hate me for this, but I get Smith and Smythe mixed
Yeah,
up.
everybody does. No, you're not alone at all.
One is Mrs. John McEnroe, I think, and the
Yes.
other one was in The Pretenders. That's all.
Yes. Carol identified as Rainer, Maria Reich, Frank O'Hara, John Allen Ginsberg, and William Burroughs, who were in the Source. That's the movie where Depp played Jack Kerouac reciting his poetry with Dennis Hopper and John Turturro. 19 the Basketball Diaries came out in 78. Hard drug culture. The music in 1970, he moved to California to get a fresh start, overcoming his heroin addiction. Carroll formed Amsterdam, a new wave punk band. Encouragement from Patti Smith, whom he once shared an apartment with in New York City with Robert Mapplethorpe and Otis Thorpe. The musicians were Steve Lindsley, Wayne Woods, and had previously been in a rock band, Brian Tinsley. He performed spoken word piece, which anyone can do, with Patti Smith in San Diego. That's where Eddie Vedder is from, right?
Yeah.
When the support band dropped out at the last moment, the Jim Carroll band then formed and were able to secure a recording contract at Atlantic Records. Imagine trying that today, Sarah, to get a record contract doing that.
Hmm.
Could you imagine trying that today?
By the way, Autobot, I know. I'm sorry. I realized that as soon as I said it. Pretenders is Chrissy Hines.
Yeah, no.
You see how so out of touch I am with these two women? I know one of them did a rock and roll N-word song. That's what it's called. I can't say the actual
We all know Chrissy Hines, the
title.
lead singer of the Pretenders, but I
I
thought maybe
didn't.
she was.
I didn't for 5 seconds. So
I
yeah,
thought
I
maybe
don't
she
care.
had like a tryst with them, like she had a kind of a maybe like she sat in with them for a couple of years. That's I was fooled. I thought maybe, they all know each other and who knows. And
I'm
it's
retiring officially right now from all music discussion.
change your name to they released a single "People Who Died," taking their 1980 debut album "Catholic Boy," originally intended to be released on the Rolling Stones record. The single would make it to 103 on the charts, bubbling hot under. The album featured contributions from Bob Lanier and Bobby Keys. The first known as "People Who Died" film Steven Spielberg's E.T. Is that in the E.T.? Do you remember that? In the first scene with
No.
dialogue, boys play Dungeons and Dragons. It was also used in 1985 Kim Richards' film Tough Turf. I saw that with James Spader and Robert Downey Jr. And featured a cameo appearance by the band itself. Then in 2004's Dawn of the Dead, and then in 2015 episode of season 1's Mr. Robot. Just over and over again, they use this. 1985's Basketball Diaries. The song is also covered in the supergroup Hollywood Vampires on their rise with vocals by Johnny Depp. Carroll also collaborated with musicians Lou Reed, Blue Oyster Cult, Boz Scaggs, Ray Manzarek of The Doors, Pearl Jam. I didn't even realize that. I just said San Diego and Veteran, so that ends up Electric Light Orchestra and Rancid. It also was used in the Suicide Squad, the James Gunn DC Comics film, and the marvelous Ms. Maisel. Everything is Belmore, Long Island, paying tribute to Brian Tarantino. Brian Tarantino, person. Carroll, he had two. He was divorced once. Don't think he had any kids. So that's what his deal is. In case we bring him up all the time. And that's to clear up any confusion. I may not bring Jim Carroll up ever again.
I'm sure that I won't.
Chrissy Hine married Sid Vicious.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I don't know.
Almost married him. Thank you. Almost married. Stu Chrysler doing security for Peter DeLuise now, right, Sam? Stewie's Junkyard. That's such a Sable reference. That was so funny today when all you could see was Howard's wig. Oh, you watched that Barbara dress. She's talking about the Seinfeld watch-up. We did a thing of Howard interviewing Jason Alexander about who almost got the George Costanza role. And so the microphone is covering 90% of Howard's Barbra Streisand profile. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Done on purpose.
This is Heroes.
Ugh.
Are we getting tired of this or what?
About 40 minutes ago.
Christy Hine was married to Ray Davies from the Kinks, Sarah. Thank you, Barbara Drush.
I wish I could swim.
You can't be in a supergroup if you don't have a hit song, Dorian. You're right.
Like dolphins can swim.
How many of those women screaming think that he wrote this?
So nothing will keep us together.
Am I overstepping my boundaries? Does it seem like Depp is now officially bored with this song and this band and everything here? And
Not
he's
as
just
much
going.
as I am.
I mean, doesn't he seem visually bored with the song?
I don't know.
And we
I
have to
think he.
pretend we're not bored with it.
I think his joy at playing with his heroes, literal, no pun intended, is outweighs any feelings he has about the music personally.
I mean, in an interview with a hard-hitting interview, which he has not done in a very long time, I would ask him all these questions. I'm like, this is the opposite of art.
And
This
he
is
would,
a
you know, if you finally got the interview that you dream of,
I'm never
it would last 3 minutes.
going. I'm sure I'd be I would somehow figure out
No,
there's
you
got to be a way.
absolutely would, but you would you would start with Jump Street. That would already put him on the offense or the defense, I should say. And then you would move, dude, what are you doing with the music?
There's got to be a way to compliment him and then ask a hard-hitting question and then compliment him. And you just keep going back and forth and tugging on the emotions. But you tell him up front, I'm going to ask some hard-hitting questions. I think this is anti-art. I think this is the opposite.
Respectful, hard-hitting questions.
Now, Gungan, that's exactly what he's doing. He's doing a David Bowie impersonation. I said this 1,000 times. I feel like I was the first one to know it. When you watch Sweeney Todd, he's doing a David Bowie impression. So when Tim Burton got him agreed for him to do it, I'm sure his process was, I've never really sang in long form. How do I do this and not feel embarrassed and get it right? Well, I feel that David Bowie would have been a perfect guy to do a Sweeney Todd, and that's kind of how he does it. And he doesn't know how to transition. So now every time he sings, he's basically channeling that David Bowie impression he did in Sweeney Todd, including this. And it was Alice Cooper that somehow had to remind him that he was in Sweeney Todd. Is how the story goes. It is the opposite of art, Dorian. It's covers, it's rote, it's unenthusiastic, it's using your fame as a movie star to play with these guys. It's the very opposite of art. And the very opposite of everything his band in the early 80s stood for, I'm sure. Yeah, I was able to do that rant in between.
Hear you because I
Forgettable guitar stuff. Also, too, this song has been covered a lot. Remember the Godzilla soundtrack? Didn't the Wallflowers cover this too? This has been beat to death, like even before this. Like, and
You will be queen.
All right.
For nothing.
Yes, Bowie, right?
Just for one day.
God, the phenomenon of the phone bothers me more than it should.
Yeah, I'm getting sick of it too. I want Ben Chu to go up there and sing with him.
I think it's only beginning.
We can be heroes for just one day. Judge Redhoff.
We could be us.
Good observation, Gungadin. He's doing it. I didn't know. How much guitar does Alice Cooper play? I guess everybody. I guess the whole world plays. I guess everybody plays guitar. I guess it really is not a difficult skill. I think you could pick it up, and I mean,
I've never seen Alice Cooper with a guitar.
I remember my nephew was he must have been in middle school, and he had a guitar, and they got him a guitar. And he like picked it up in like 2 weeks. Like he was like, and I'm going, I guess anyone could do this. Like in 2 weeks, he's sort of gotten bored with it. He doesn't play anymore. I have a cousin. Like I feel like anyone can do this. It's not a special skill at all.
I disagree with you there.
What do you mean? It's not disagree with what?
To play guitar?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's a very. It seems like everybody plays guitar. It seems like the whole world. It's not a very. If you want to be a drummer, if you're a drummer,
it doesn't take skill.
I'm not saying it doesn't take skill, but
you just said that.
No, I mean like it's a very hackneyed, overblown, overrated skill. It seems like if everyone can do this, there's millions of guitars. It's not a very special skill. right? It's a very. I think you work in an air fryer is about as common as guitarists now. What does it take more skill? Work in an air fryer or playing guitar?
Playing guitar.
I don't know. I feel like it's just more and more just like
Just for one day.
Corey Morgan says bass is harder than lead. Wayman Tisdale will back you up on that, Corey. Remember the Altoids, Sarah? Ben Chu and the Altoids during the trial? John O'Reilly reminds us. It just like oh my god. Emily Sterner to 3/4. Ben Chu can easily sing backup vocals on this. Enriquez. I will say he hits the last note of this song. I don't know if he does it here. It's different. It gets a little. Sometimes he doesn't have the enthusiasm for it, and sometimes he hits the last note here, and it really gives me the chills. He really can sing when the crescendo, I guess you call it here. You know what I'm talking about.
I actually think you like this because you will bitch about how you're tired of talking about the Hollywood vampires, and then you talk about them for 2 hours.
I would rather hear him sing than play guitar. Like that's not even close. I would
Okay,
rather.
that's
see
what
him-
you're getting.
I would pay to see him play golf with Alice Cooper than this. I would way rather see that. I think it's way more intimate. It's way more interesting. Now this next line should get me, but it may not.
Sounds fine.
Right here. That's the best line. It's very karaoke oriented. If I'm ever in Oregon, Sarah, I'm going to go out and karaoke this, and I'm going to sing it in Depp style. If everybody, it's great now about karaoke in 2023 is everybody has every song now. You don't have to go through a library anymore. You could pull up anything now. It used to be that everybody had the same, whatever it was, 200 songs. Now you can do anything, and this is available. And you have the reverb microphone.
Oh, there he is with the guitar. After I said I've never seen him with a guitar. But
That's why
he's
it's
playing
not
less than Depp is.
Supposedly, Alice Cooper is a better golfer than he is a musician.
I don't know. It bores me too much.
Now, golf is much harder than guitar. I'm not a huge my whole family plays golf and are very good. My father was excellent. My brother, they'll scratch golfers. My brother-in-law plays. My cousin plays. My nephew plays. Except for me. I just don't have it. It takes years and years and hours to shave 5 strokes off. Golf is a much harder activity than guitar.
Alice Cooper plays like I
Look at the way Alice is holding his guitar. That's how Depp should hold his guitar. You see it's upright like that, right at fucking dick level.
Can I say, I think that there is a little input area where the guitar gets plugged in on Alice's guitar. I don't see a cord hanging from it.
That's we got to do some investigative stuff about do they have cordless guitars now where it's like you can charge it or
I don't know.
It's
It's like you hate fuck Hollywood vampires.
What do I got here? Okay, this is
Roman
I think this is
Polanski.
them fooling around. No, this is them fooling around. Somebody got this is like I just want to give you a panoramic view of this arena. This is an Instagram video of so they have like balloons, their own balloons that are popped in. No, I'm sorry. This is the end of the show. This is them leaving. This is the end of the show. This is the camera zoomed on Depp.
I like his happy little strut, and his ass looks great in those pants. That's my only comment.
As does yours, my dear. They're
My ass would look good removing those pants from his ass.
I'm obsessed with when Depp attaches himself to the other people that have to be party to. They have to go along with the fans, his fan appreciation and conviviality, and yet they may not have that inside them naturally, and they have to go along and be patient while he signs everything. And you know that Joe Perry does not have the patience, especially at this stage in his life. Hooper goes, I've seen better people. I've seen hospice people looking better than Joe Perry does now. He really is. Now listen to the Boston accent. Listen to the New England accents here yelling at him. Johnny! Johnny!
Women involved.
Johnny Depp! Hey, Johnny Depp! Hey, Johnny!
Which leads us to our grand finale of Roman Polanski. I'm not going to spend too much time. I found an interview with him where it's creepier than even I could imagine, and I didn't even know this existed. I kind of didn't.
Since I put her beautiful face in the thumbnail, do you have some information on the connection between Paradis and
Not
Polanski?
yet. Not yet. We'll do that next time because I didn't even. This is Roman Polanski in an interview talking to a journalist about how it's no big deal being interested in 13-year-olds. Let's do his okay, and after
Love
that
is love.
we'll play his victim.
The heart wants what the heart wants.
It's kind of what he says.
Newspapers and the magazines and the books talk about you and little girls. Is there anything in it?
Well, I like young women, let's put it this way. I think most of men do, actually. It wasn't night, it was an afternoon. It was...
Go ahead, Sarah, what?
I didn't say anything.
Okay. I mean, we're 30 seconds in, and I'm creeped out already. There's just no defending this. There's no good optics. There's no way to spin this. There's no...
I was about to make a series of photographs of...
Newspapers and the magazines and the books talk about you and little girls. Is there anything in it?
Well, I like young women, let's put it this way. I think most of men do, actually. It wasn't night, it was an afternoon. It was... I was about to make a series of photographs of young girls of that age for French magazine called Vogue. I found it quite an interesting enterprise because I like the girls of this age. And because the girls of that age, for some reason, like me. And just it went a little bit too far.
What year is this?
1983, 85, something like that.
Oh, God. Pig. Should be castrated.
I think he thinks he has safe zone being in France. That
He
this
does.
is so this is okay to speak this way in French. Come to me.
And then we rewind to our last episode, part 1, where Depp says, "Why are they coming after him? Why?"
I'm going to play that right after this.
Oh.
One of those on the session with this girl.
Granted that you have this interest in young girls and are never concealed Really, it's maybe an interesting young girl. Wasn't an incident like the one that happened more or less bound to happen eventually?
Looking back at it, it probably was bound to happen, yes. I have to point out that the girl had testified before the grand jury to previous experiences. But there is the fact that there were other men in her life and that nobody else had the same problems that I had. Most of people in the state of California are guilty of the similar crime since the age of consent in that state is...
Did I not just hear him say everyone in California that's a male is guilty of the same crime of statutory rape like I am?
Well, because
I'm
his
no
friends
different
are
or
into it.
because his friends. So everything shady Hollywood, every pedo Hollywood, every rapeist, every creep, every in Hollywood is the norm, not in the entire state of California, is
Mhm.
how he just framed that.
But his little group represents the entire state. But his little group and all of Hollywood today, who are quick to tell you how deplorable you are in middle America, they rush to give him a standing ovation and they rush to be in his movies.
And it's not just Depp.
No.
It's Adrian Brody. I mean, I have footage of it's from Howard Show. He played Adrian Brody on the Oscars, thanking him and giving and this is well deep into. It's really crazy. This is just not. I mean, people bring this up and you'll see but this should be just like a huge like explosion. It's amazing how we gloss and France is the excuse. Now that's if you have a dislike of France and how pretentious it is and this is why you should dislike France. If they're facilitating and green lighting this behavior, that's the reason to hate that country, probably more so than anything. This is Epstein-esque, Barbara DeRush. You're right. This is no better than Jeffrey Epstein or Deppstein, as it were.
18. And it's very difficult to find someone who did not have experience before reaching this age. Well, with me, it was a bit more extreme, of course, because the girl was 2 weeks short of 14.
And you actually did know. You actually did.
I don't know. I'm so agape right now. I cannot. He obviously got assured by this interviewer. His name is Clive something or other. The name's not there's these famous Clive, some guy named Clive something or other. Probably gave him some kind of assurance that, oh, I'm in your camp and I'm in, like, he romanced him into just getting this candor out of him
He doesn't even deny it.
because he's in France. Because he's doing this in France, and it's A-okay in this country apparently.
But she was almost 14. Oh God.
That came out of his mouth verbatim.
If this
There's
is my
no-
child, he's dead.
This
He
is
wouldn't
not.
live to do this interview.
And he also accused saying she has a history of this. She likes older guys, so that makes it okay for me, and that is the norm for the entire state of California. That's what he just said.
If that's my child, I am the female Gary, is it Plou? But he stood at that phone bank of payphones and shot his son's rapeist in the head as he's being led through the airport by police.
John O'Reilly, you've done it again. Polanski was not only accepted by Hollywood, he was voted for an Oscar in 2003, years after the rape. They have banned people for far less than what this is.
Yeah.
I mean, would you say that this is worse than Weinstein, or just right on the level of what we've heard about the worst of Weinstein?
Mm-hmm. If you've ever looked, if you're wondering what I'm talking about, look up Gary Plauche, father of the century.
Gary Della Place?
No.
Father of the century.
Mm-hmm.
We
I would
might not have-
actually almost ask you to play that because that's what I would be doing to this man.
What is Place's
Okay. In the 70s, Gary Plauche, I'm so sorry, I'm probably saying it wrong. Plauche, his son was kidnapped by his karate instructor and held and was sexually assaulted. He was arrested. as he's being led through the airport by police officers, Plauche is waiting at the payphone bank, turns around in sunglasses and a hat, turns around, shoots him in the head, puts him down like the beast he is. Father of the century.
And who would? It's crazy when these guys go into jail. Who would convict this guy? But he's probably went to jail immediately after that. And
Well, he
what?
had a court date, of course, and then he was given oh God, what do you call it? Oh my God, when you're probation for a couple years.
Mhm.
But he's a hero, international hero.
Is there footage of this?
Yes, it's on YouTube.
Thank you, Ida Greenbacks, who says, and use your what's it called? The thing on the bottom right.
Oh God, Ida, thank you so much.
What's the symbol on the bottom right called? The QR code is called.
Yes.
Okay.
Venmo.
His wife and child were brutally murdered. Initially, I think he was given a pass, and at this moment, he's just considered a major creep.
Had that child lived, do you think he would talk about how it's normal for him to touch that little boy?
And there was
at
so
some point?
fewer media outlets back then analyzing this, right? I mean, how many people even had a forum to talk about it?
But you know what I'm saying? When you're
Yeah,
this
yeah.
sick in the head, they usually don't care about gender. They have to be with a child.
He's
So-
so. Go ahead, go.
No, I'm done. Go ahead.
Is that the phone booth guy? Says
Yes.
Dorian Morgan. Okay.
I would almost have you pull it up, but I think we'd get in trouble.
Yeah, I knew she was 14 because she was talking about her birthday before that.
Doesn't the age of consent mean precisely that under a certain age, whatever age it may be, it doesn't matter if the girl says yes or not, or wants to or not, that you're supposed not to because it's
Yes, I know. If you think of the United States, there's the states when the age of consent is 12 in the United States. But it
What?
varies from country to country.
In the 70s.
Yes, indeed. You know, that's it's very easy to say it now. One should have thought about it before. But if you find yourself with a girl in a certain situation, you don't exactly think of it.
Age is everything.
You mean children or you mean young girls?
Age is everything.
Young
Because the
women?
law is about age, not about maturity or wisdom or future stardom. I'm talking
Yeah,
like...
but in France it's 15.
Okay,
for
so it's
example.
in France that Nastasia Kinski becomes your next star, right? She's
You know who was 15, living in the Eastern Columbia building with her boyfriend?
Yes, I know. We've talked
Right.
about it.
So are we blaming Vanessa and Depp for that?
Apparently, the way we talked about it during the trial, the Parisian influence. It's
And
more
part of how
acceptable
they
in
met,
Europe
and part of how they met is this
through
monster,
Polanski.
this pedo monster, this overrated pedo monster.
15 years old, and the world, one way or another, finds out you're having an affair with her.
In
If
Germany.
the case comes to trial in California, all these things are going to
No,
be
it can't get 50 years. I mean, this is the nonsense that press writes about. What 50 years? That year, there were 20 or 19 cases in California itself of similar nature. Nobody went to prison, or only there were policemen and people in public service involved in cases.
Why do women like you?
They don't.
So apparently he seems to be studying all statutory rape cases that ever
Yeah,
existed.
they all know the laws. Like Kumia knows the laws.
Yes, you know, the age of consent in every state.
Yeah, I don't know them. There's a reason I don't know them. I don't need to know them.
He goes to the extent that he studies the creeper statutory rape pedo predilections of every country. So he's comparing it to not just France. He seems to know that, so he can rationalize it by saying, "Oh, in Bulgaria, this is fine." Like he goes even worse. He's internationally savvy about the statutory rape tendencies.
Really
Was it
like
ever
me so much.
12?
Let's not exaggerate.
Well, I don't know.
Even in the 70s, when everything, no holds barred in the 70s, was it even that low then?
if you have a child, if you have a sister, if you have a cousin, if you have a niece, and you see what 12 years old looks like, it's exactly what you described in that dude in the airport did. You would see if this happened to anybody in your orbit with this guy.
Mhm.
How could this is this? It's amazing. This is the power of Depp's charisma that he could skirt any affiliation, even making a film with him. And I wasn't even aware of the magnitude. I knew he was a creep in 1998, but I didn't really study the magnitude of it. And when you hear it here, him sort of just owning it because he's in France, it's even. My skin is crawling. I want to get off like right now.
Do you know? Don't word it that way.
I mean, get off me in this podcast.
Do you want
And-
to? Had Depp come out against Polanski at some point?
Play this for him.
No, instead of doing that movie, The Ninth Gate, right?
Yes.
If he had, publicly said, no, I turned down The Ninth Gate because I don't believe in, glorifying Roman Polanski, the average Joe in America, he would have become a hero.
Can you look up for me? I can't do it because I'm multitasking too much. Kate Winslet on Polanski. I
to.
believe she came out and I think she did a movie with him. I can't remember. And she kind of just said she's horrified at herself and
Of
embarrassed.
course she is. No, she's not.
Well, I don't know. At least she said something.
Yeah, after she did the movie?
I know, but maybe she
her.
might have been too. I don't know. Just tell me if you can find it
Oh,
because
I didn't know. Okay, I'm reading it. Hold on.
Horatius
I'll get you a
763.
quote.
Okay.
Hold on.
Hey, who hasn't rop-ate a child once in a while? Give the guy a break.
Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Kate Winslet said she is grappling with regrets over working with film directors Woody Allen and Roman Polanski.
Oh my god.
It's like, what the fuck was I doing working with Woody Allen and Roman Polanski? It's unbelievable to me now how those men were held in such high regard so widely in the film industry and for as long as they were. It's fucking disgraceful. And I have to take responsibility for the fact that I work with them both. I can't turn back the clock. I'm grappling with those regrets, but what do we have if we aren't able to just be fucking truthful about all of it? Shut up.
That's better than nothing. It's better than what
That's
Depp
less
did.
than nothing.
It's better than nothing. At least
You
she said
cannot
something.
tell me she didn't know. First thing that comes up when you Google, and both of those people are the accusations.
I'm saying, yeah, she was a stupider person. I was saying she's younger. I'm saying her agent helped her make that decision because you need that. It gives you an artistic merit to work with these two assholes, with these two pedo monsters. And she probably wasn't only in on that decision, but I'm only saying she was stupider and probably not as in charge of a career as she is now. I'm not defending. I'm not. But at least
She's
she
not
did
tied
something.
to a chair
At
and
least
made
said
to go
something.
film a movie.
She's an A-list megastar in terms of her decisions artistically. At least she said something. It's just more than you could say for. Look at Depp's quote compared to what that was when we play this. He was a creep with Sharon Tate, says Barbara DeRush, getting her with women and orgies. Yes, that doesn't nearly enough. August of '69, says Ida Greenback. Shocking and horrifying. Horatius, Tarantino defended. Yeah, we played that last time, Horatius. I
Yeah,
don't know
go
if
to
you.
part one of this Polanski thing, and
Yeah, we played the
play that,
Tarantino stuff.
and we throw up all over
It's
ourselves.
crazy. It's almost as mortifying as this. I love a happy ending. Huge applause for Mr. Plache.
This
gotta
you can almost say, yeah, Polanski's psychotic. That's why he's saying. But you have a Tarantino coming and say, what's wrong with it? She liked to party.
Lauren Marie says, I love many of his movies and liked them before ever knowing about his personal grossness. Yeah, it's not like this was mainstream gossip along the ways. Like it's there's way more outlets now to look this stuff up, and we just I remember I saw The Ninth Gate, and somebody said to a friend of mine who knew Polanski's movies better than I did, was like, "You really comfortable seeing this?" I'm like, "I don't know." I'm like, I'm almost like Lauren. Like I didn't know much about it really. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, he's like, you like Depp that much? You're gonna support this, explaining it to me, and it just didn't register. I didn't really know anything about this at the time.
I would sacrifice all of the movies, including Rosemary's Baby, just so this troglodyte bite, whatever, and people like him could be put down.
I think it was my friend Matt Kaplan from Jonas Grumby who said that to me, and I'm like, I don't know. He's like, wow, you really that's some pass. Yeah, so I don't think of him personally when I watch it. He should just stop talking. Well, too late for that. And this is in France. Hollywood has always been rape and sexual exploitation business from the beginning, a way for weirdos, sickos like Polanski to access to young adults and children. And Dan
And trust,
Schneider.
I'm not saying he's the only one. For one of him, there's 15 more hiding in their caves, but they're there. And they
They
continue
should
to
they
get
should have
worse.
some term for Polanski, the Rosemary baby pass or something like that. Like it's just like it's almost like Rosemary's Sue Monster bring. I mean, Ida Greenbacks brings it up. Rosemary's baby seems to come up as this kind of like, this this iconic virtuoso movie, and it's almost like it's always the first thing. It's like a Rosemary baby pass, in this, and you could tie it into the pedo. Donate millions to women's shelters, says Dorian Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, I just got here. I can't catch a stream often. I'll come back. That's okay, Horatius. Just catch it. We go over the Tarantino thing in that pretty extensively.
They like me enough for me to get into trouble.
Does it flatter you that women like you?
Of course.
But why do you need to be flattered so
It
much?
tickles my ego. That's why I am where I am,
But how
because
did
I
he-
have this tremendous ego, maybe it has to do with my size, The 5'6", you see.
Hey friend, welcome to my channel, Creating a Ludo.
What's this?
Looks like my Uncle Joe when he was a kid.
And your poor Uncle Joe.
Did he just coin Napoleonic complex?
I don't know.
Can you believe what we just listened to? And this is the first time I've listened to this audio. I just found it. And I kind of knew there was stuff out on him, but this is just off the chain creepy. Him owning it. How you don't just, we were playing like kind of secondhand stuff. So this is, I think Depp's thing is still in here. This is Depp defending him a scant 12 years ago. And boy, the power of this guy's charisma, because you'd think someone who heard this would just be, I'm done with you, right? But nope. This doesn't repel anybody.
He's not a predator. He has a wife and kids.
Came all the way from Switzerland, which unfortunately got famous for arresting Polanski. What do you think about it, and do you know anything else about it?
Why now?
Oh.
Why
they're
now?
laughing.
What's going? I mean, obviously there's something going on somewhere, and somebody had to make a deal with someone for something, and maybe there's a little money involved. I don't know, but why now? He's been going there for 30 years. No, I'm not saying that to you. I'm asking the question in general. For 30 years, he's been going there. He has a place. He has a house there.
Especially the way they did it.
Especially the way they
call
did it.
him to give him a lifetime achievement, and then it was in the end it was a trap to arrest him.
Good.
And also the
Creative.
thing is very clearly
It's almost like Depp is saying, well, that was a long time ago. That's fine. He's from France. He helped facilitate me meeting Vanessa. Why now, right? Maybe if you act on it, but he's with statute of limitations is run out. That's fine. And it's not at this time, but he has it's great. When I think about the Lily Rose stuff in the Eastern Columbia building with the 24-year-old boyfriend when she's 15, it makes a lot of sense now. I mean, it never made sense, you know what I mean? Like when you just the French culture, it's just repugnant. I mean, it's unbelievable that they're fine with this. They agree, like this is fine. And I don't want to speak for the whole culture. Maybe he's just a creep even in France. Like it really
I think he might
castigates the
be.
entire country. I
Yeah.
don't believe they're all like that.
No, of course not.
Do you think George St. Pierre played Batroc
I
in
don't know.
Captain America: Winter Soldier?
You probably don't want to know.
I don't.
But I
Very
don't get the
clearly, and he's
argument,
proven
why
it.
now? If it took me 50 years to plowchay that dog's ass, I would do it.
Because he's saying there should be a statute of limitation. You should forgive him.
Unless it's his daughter
Because he hooked up, right?
or
Unless it's
son.
because he directed me in ninth grade and he
Yeah.
facilitated me and Vanessa. This shouldn't matter. She could be 8 years old. It's so crazy. I can't even, like, you think if I had any integrity that I would have cut off my fandom, right?
Mhm.
When I put two and two together, right? I mean, when I was told by Matt Kaplan and Mike Ravatsas in 1998, what are you doing seeing a Roman Polanski movie? And I just blew it off. I didn't even pay attention. I didn't even want to know. You weren't going to stop me from seeing it 10 times in the theater.
You should be ashamed for putting that 1/200th of a penny in Polanski's pocket.
I know. I gave money to Roman Polanski's box office. I did, and bought the Blu-ray and bought the DVD. Like, it gets worse. It
And I
gets
can
worse.
judge you because I have not.
No, but that's just out of utter
I just like to judge
indifference,
you.
and you're too cool for school.
I know.
arrest him.
And also
Good
the
word.
thing is very clearly, and he's proven this, Roman Polanski is not a predator.
Very clearly.
I mean, he's he's 75 years old or what, 76.
And?
He's got.
So if you're 75,
You lose all sexual
you can no
urge.
longer be considered a predator.
Yeah.
It's taken away. That's taken off. This might be. Now Depp said some dumb things. This is probably number one. I don't know if I've ever heard him say anything more repugnant than this. This
I can't
should
defend
have
this.
propelled- no one can.
No. But people will.
Notice it never comes up because it's indefensible. And there's nothing about this. There's no way to spin this. You could be. How did Amber Heard's people not play this full video during the trial?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
How in our Deppis voting, how did Hunter S. Thompson win cringe friend over Roman Polanski?
Polanski was a candidate, right? In the
Yes.
Deppies,
And we
right?
played this.
2 beautiful kids. He's got a wife that he's been with for a long, long time. He's not out in the street, doing horrible things.
Oh, he's
so
in hot tubs. doing
I'm
it.
confused by it.
You can go
If you're a Hollywood mogul with power and access, you couldn't possibly be a predator, is what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
You can only be a predator if you don't have money and access.
There's only one way to cure it.
You can only.
If you don't inject them with a poison to put them down, you cut their dicks off, their hands off, and sew their mouth shut.
Wow, I feel ill right now. I feel dirty. And yet we have to go on and keep doing this and stuff. I don't know.
Say one more.
Harvey Weinstein didn't get caught till he was old, says Horatius. Maybe Polanski got caught once and got. You think that's the only time he did that, Horatius? Where there's
That's what he's saying.
30,000 rounds of ammo, there is fire, and that's what Horatius is saying.
Mm-hmm.
He's now a predator on Viagra. A lot
Yep.
of famous men have dark triad traits.
Well, you get old,
A lot of
your
famous
brain
women
just
do.
completely rewires, apparently.
Lauren Marie says, I finally got to meet a band I loved for years after a show back in the early 2000s, and they turned out to be disgusting pigs. She's talking about King Norris. Let me say, I walked away from them and stopped listening to them that day. You
I
have
think
to.
it's 7 Mary 3.
You have to. Is that seven? Is that who it is?
No, I don't know.
Who is the band, Lauren? Who's the? You don't have to protect. The last thing you need to do is protect their anonymity at this point. Would we know the band? Maybe we don't even know them. Maybe we don't even know them.
Just don't
This
say it's Pearl
is-
Jam.
This is his victim, who's trying to move on with her life. I didn't watch this. I'm watching it for the first. I saw it and I kind of skimmed through it. I didn't really. So this is her on 60 Minutes years ago.
To get into jacuzzi, I knew I was in trouble. Like, wait, this is not
This is the victim.
what he's supposed to be doing. And I didn't know what was going to happen, but I knew whatever was on his mind was not a good thing.
It was the moment Samantha Geimer's life changed forever. Were you frightened at that point?
That's the moment. Then I realized something was wrong. I was frightened. I didn't know what to do. And I just knew then, it was like, oh, this guy, he wants to get his hands on me. Oh my God, what am I going to do?
But you're a party girl, according to Tarantino.
Samantha Geimer.
Yeah, look at that. Looks legal.
That's her age when he preyed on her. That's the predator. That's the age. That's the age. Could you imagine? And I believe, how old was Polanski? 53 during this? So he's got her by 40 years? Am I too?
Yeah,
40
something
odd
like
years?
that. Yeah.
This is okay. He looks at her and says, yes, if there's grass in the, there's not grass in the infield, by the way.
Oh my
It is
God.
a skin field. Well, remember hear that joke that the,
Yes.
right, that's what he coined, and that's how that got created. Polanski is how this got created. If there's grass in the, there's not grass in the infield, and not that that's anything. That's as creepy, even knowing that term.
She's
And it was
At
the
Brace's
moment the
age
then
here.
13-year-old schoolgirl became the victim in one of the world's most infamous rape cases.
no party girl.
I mean,
come on.
it changed my life. It changed me as a person.
Infamous because her attacker was this man.
God, what a
Much
goblin.
celebrated 43-year-old Hollywood director Roman Polanski, who would be charged with drugging, raping and sodomizing his victim.
I have not much to tell you except that
Okay, see, he was 43 and she was 13.
Okay,
Is that
30,
what we're dealing with there? The
30
age range?
years.
They said 43, so I'm assuming they mean at the time of this.
Yeah. He's not 43 now.
You know, Roman's fame at that
90 something now.
time, he was very powerful, very well known. I think when you're wealthy or powerful or well known, people don't say no to you, and you have like this different view of life where you're accustomed to getting what you want.
Well, she's spot on so far, right? I mean, we've just said that, and she's saying it here.
I feel bad for her. Of course you would. Later on, it's like she was almost paid off, and she recants all of this, basically saying it was no big deal.
So some of the theories is she got paid off to do that, or she's trying to like look like, oh, I'm taking a high road and stuff. I don't care. I don't care what she thinks.
I don't either.
When she's trying to backpedal on it.
Well, she did an interview with his wife, his current wife.
Yes.
Saying this.
But see, she's trying to take a high road, which is you've lost the ability to take the high road. There's no high road here. Doesn't exist. There's no high road.
Because you get what you want.
Oh, Fleetwood Mac.
Oh, look, I own all of Stevie Nicks and Fleetwood Mac's music, by the way.
This footage
Lindsey
here,
Buckingham.
the Fleetwood Mac footage, just makes me want to live in the 70s. And then it ends and I change my mind.
Well, being that I own all the rights to Fleetwood Mac's, maybe I can make that happen.
Don't worry about it. I'm going to
obsessed
address the
with
emails
fame,
we get.
sex, and drugs, and the
See that RC
inevitable
Cola banner
celebrity
with
scandals.
sugar? God damn, I forgot about that. No way.
And it was where Samantha's mother Susan, budding
sorry, back to
actress,
the
brought her
darkness.
family
What's there?
Sorry, back to the darkness. I had
in
my
the
moment.
quest for a piece of ubiquitous.
Does Fleetwood Mac have to sign off on letting them use their music for this Polanski montage?
I don't know how that works. I would assume so.
And they said, "Yeah, take it, please, please. Yes, that's what we wrote."
I don't
this
know what
song.
networks get away with.
I don't. Yeah, I'd love to know how this works with that particular scenario.
Hollywood
Let's
fan.
change that to pedo wood.
How would you describe yourself as a 13-year-old?
I thought I was grown up and mature and an adult, but I was just a little bit more of a naive kid than I would have liked to think about myself.
And you were interested in a career in the movies or as a model, the entertainment business.
Right. I wanted to be an actress, not really a model, but, I wanted to be an actress or a singer or, I wanted to go into the business.
Roman Polanski, himself a newcomer to Hollywood, had already experienced fame's triumphs and tragedies.
He's Polish-born director Roman Polanski. She's American actress Sharon Tate.
In 1969, his pregnant wife Sharon Tate was brutally murdered by members of...
He looks like Peter Dinklage in that last shot, right? Look at how effing. I heard he's 5 foot.
He's 5'6".
5'6".
His pregnant wife Sharon Tate
says, so it's probably
was
5'3".
brutally murdered by members of the cult the Manson family, led by serial killer.
You really got to see that Tarantino movie, Sarah. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
You're just all over this stuff. You know this. I didn't even know anything about that. In a very vague way, and the movie's great. You will love that movie.
You know the door to the Tate Polanski mansion. Oh God, Trent Reznor bought the door.
I didn't know that.
And you put it up in his studio, I think. It's disgusting.
Do you remember The Fall Guy with Lee Majors?
Of course I do. The greatest show of the 80s.
Loved it. Loved Lee Majors. That's basically what Brad Pitt is playing in this, like a stunt man. Lee Majors. Remember they used to show his life on the show?
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what Brad Pitt is playing here, and the life of a aging stunt man.
Okay.
Charles Manson.
He steals
This
that
was at the
movie.
home of movie director Roman Polanski, and it was his wife, Sharon Tate, who was one of the victims.
It was an horrific loss for the Polish-French director who just 12 months
I'm half Polak, of course. I got to be lumped in with this fucking. And he's a Polak who is from France too. So I guess he moved to France at like very young, and then
Before had been applauded for his film Rosemary's Baby.
This is no dream. This is really happening.
And who would go on to receive 11 Oscar nominations for his 1974 film China.
he's acted before. Is he
Of course, sometimes their ego gets so bad they like to make cameo appearances in their own movies.
Tarantino does it all the time.
Hence,
I remember. You remember this Till Dusk Till Dawn with George Clooney, and so Tarantino acts in that movie, and he plays Clooney's sidekick. And I remember I'm in the theater watching the trailer for it, and I saw Tarantino in the thing, and I just started cackling at just him in a movie and him acting, and I just couldn't. It was that kind of uncomfortable feeling you get when you see someone. And I saw him trying to act in that. I remember in the theater cackling at the top of my lungs, and everybody looked at me because I couldn't take it seriously. It shows him like he turns around in slow motion in in the trailer, him and Clooney like looking at something, and I just remember like I couldn't take it, and I just started cackling.
Clooney's side by side with Clooney probably made him even more startling to see.
Like Clooney wasn't a good actor either at that. He's okay
I'm
now.
talking about
He's fine
visually.
Yeah, but that was like Clooney hot off the ER fame and stuff, and he's just starting to become a movie actor.
I never found Clooney.
You're a very nosy fella, kitty cat, huh? You know what happens to nosy fellows?
How did he come into your lives?
It's Chinatown.
He was looking for young girls to model. So he called my mom and came over and met my mom and me.
He's looking for young girls to model, and by young, she's 13.
Yep. No, almost 14. Come on.
I got something to play from Rob Lowe after this. 1 hour. No, it's crazy because again, Rob Lowe, basically without saying this, says it. When he auditioned for Polanski for oddly enough, a movie called Pirates. Nicholson was supposed to play the lead, and instead it went to some Rob Lowe doppelganger from France, and then Walter Matthau played the Nicholson role.
And we arranged, for him to come back and do a test shoot.
What was your first impression of him?
He just seemed like another adult.
So Jamie theory is what we're saying here. Jamie says years later she was interviewed by his wife. She posed for the picture with Roman, smiling with her arm around him. She was clearly paid off to do this story. Yeah,
As I put my arm around him, I would have shanked him.
At this stage in her life, if they're offering her 7 figures, you really think she's going to say no to that?
Yeah, I don't know. We deal with trauma differently. Some people are, way too eager to forgive, but it just leads this situation. It's just like there's money involved somehow, like what Jamie's saying.
It has to be. There's no other way you would compromise your personal integrity and your trauma to do this. There's no way to look good giving him a pass of any kind or some kind of statute of limitation. There's no way to look good. You'd have to be paid off. I'm positive now.
Samantha Geimer had been suggested to Polanski by a friend of her family. He was photographing a number of models for Vogue Paris magazine. As Polanski told Clive James, the project was of special interest.
I found it quite an interesting enterprise because I like the girls of this age.
A buffet.
And because the girls of that age, for some reason, like me.
Because you're 5'4". Because you're the same height as their classmates in middle school, you piece of shit.
Because you're grooming them with promises of stardom, these children and their parents, who, by the way, what the fuck?
Very Dan Schneider.
I don't care if it's 1970. I don't.
Samantha.
Who gives a shit?
And as she tells it, from the very first shoot, things seemed out of order.
And look at this. This is a woman.
He asked you to be topless.
Yes, I mean, I was changing, and I don't know. When he said, leave the shirt off, I just thought, if he's asking me to do it, there must be a reason. This is part of the job.
And remembering, you're the innocent party here.
Right.
You're 13. He's
Yes.
43.
Right.
It was a red flag no one would see. Samantha's mother had asked to be with her, but Polanski resisted. And soon Samantha would be alone with Polanski for a second shoot.
So why do you let this happen?
On March the 10th, 1977...
You answered your own question before. Because they're allured by the promise of fame and getting around that. It just overtakes any kind of... It's really crazy.
Polanski drove Samantha to Jack Nicholson's home.
Yeah, how he gets a pass during this? He's literally facilitating the whole thing. It's at his place. He sees. You don't think he knew every bit of what went on during this? He's not questioned. He's not brought up. He's still as beloved as ever. Why is he not raked over the coals?
Well,
for this?
they're still pals, but even if you didn't know that he was this demon before this night happened, how do you stand by him,
Oh, there's no
knowing he
question
brought
knows.
that evil into your home?
Of course.
While his friend was away.
It's Jack.
On the
It's
way,
just
he
Jack
asks
being
what
Jack.
I think are inappropriate questions.
Yes. That was uncomfortable and strange.
Tell me what he asked.
Well, he asked, did I have a boyfriend? And I said yes. And then he asked if I ever had sex, which was like, okay, that's weird to ask me. And I'm like, yes, because I'm trying to be.
At 13, you don't even know what the question means. You don't even know. The birds and the bees have barely been presented to you. How would you even field that question at that
Well,
age?
remember the police report we talked about last time?
Yes.
How the word she used, how she mispronounced cunnilingus.
Yes.
She called it something else because she was a
Yes.
little child.
Yes. That was Howard's quoting of it.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Grown up. And then he asked how many times, which is weird.
On reading that, I would say that was grooming.
I guess it's.
This is the interview's doing a great job. This is a really thorough look at this that does not get nearly enough traction.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know why this isn't a bigger deal.
Certainly, looking back on how it all happened, it all seems a lot more obvious now.
It seems more calculating.
A little bit, yes, certainly. That's true.
When
It
they
doesn't help
arrived
that he has this ebullient, second grade teacher demeanor about her when she's doing this. She's just very
the house, Polanski gave his 13-year-old model
Pollyanna.
champagne.
He actually asks you whether he should open the champagne.
Yes. It's like, should we open it? And I don't care.
Again, I on my reading, right. I'm thinking that's an inappropriate question to ask as well.
I wondered, why are you asking me what you should drink?
A 13-year-old.
Right.
But he also gave you a drug.
Yes.
Yeah, Horatius is right. That now modeling is a euphemism for grooming. It's like the same way they frame that. I didn't even that's so true. Just say modeling and somehow it gives you a pass to groom. You say it's like the old scam with the fake photographer who wants to, that old gag. This is, this is an actual director. Could you imagine the power he would have where you actually have something to offer?
And every time we talk about this, I forget that he actually drugged her and didn't just get her drunk.
Oh, I know. And even this is just giving a 13-year-old alcohol is kind of ridiculous.
You wonder if he did the Cosby way, where he's like, "Oh, you have a headache? Here you go. These little blue pills will help."
It also doesn't make Depp look good. The marijuana stuff with Lily Rose at a middle school party was like,
Marijuana compared to this.
It's still though. It's kind of reminds me. It's just still. It's all in the same age group and.
These pills. And so I took it, put a little piece of it, and then almost immediately realized, oh my gosh, I've been drinking and I just took a pill.
So here's Roman Polanski, one of the most famous film producers in Hollywood, who's taken a 13-year-old girl to Jack Nicholson's house, talked about sex, handed out champagne, given her a drug.
And Nicholson never stops and goes, "What is a 13-year-old doing at my house?" There's just no.
Well, I think he was out of town, but yes.
Is he out of town or?
He wasn't there.
Oh, I don't know.
That's why I kind of give him a pass for
maybe
the actions leading up.
I'm there. Maybe I would if that. I would love to give him a pass, but unless he deserves one. But has he ever spoken about this at all? Has he ever been? I think Nicholson's never interviewed anywhere.
I think he has, but it was kind of like,
Yeah. Gave it a very cavalier.
Mm-hmm.
More cavalier than Brad Doherty.
Isn't that predatory?
Yes, that was all really inappropriate behavior. Less frowned upon in 1977, more common, but still very bad behavior.
But it would get a lot worse. Polanski photographed Samantha nude in the jacuzzi and then made his move.
We were going into this dark room together. But he wasn't forceful, and I was scared and confused and high, and so I just kind of didn't really know how to resist that, besides say, I'd rather not know. And then when that didn't change his mind, I just didn't know what else to do.
How would you make any decisions at that age? Think about how stupid you were when you were 13 years old. How many, does anything about you suggest common sense in doing the right thing? And so when confronted with a powerful, would you ever have any rational that you could qualify this today? It's so stupid. Even the way she's framed, she's way too Pollyanna about it.
Yeah, I think you almost surrender because that seems to be the easiest option.
Yeah, well, I did. It was like, okay, he's doing this, and he's not. And I've said I'd rather not. No, let's please. I'd rather go home.
It stopped only when Nicholson's girlfriend, Angelica Houston, knocked on their door.
On the way home, he says something to you, which again falls into that category of he knew what he was doing was wrong. He says to you not to tell your mum.
Angelica Houston knocks on the door, and this is what. Now she's not aware Nicholson's not home. She's living there, or
yeah, they were partners for quite a few years.
And you say partners? He was not. Was Nicholson married at any point? What's his marital?
I don't pay attention to him.
He has a son who you see at Laker games now. Who looks exactly like him and DiCaprio, the kid.
Right. And so he's asking you. Right. He in fact says to you that for you and he to keep it as your little secret.
Which is kind of a creepy thing. And I just think when he saw me upset, then he realized that, sort of worry about it in that kind of way.
Good luck, Roman.
Oh my God.
He had reason to worry. That night, Samantha's mother called the police.
Not something I have not much to tell you, except that I'm innocent.
On my part, it was done with all innocence. I have to point out that the girl had testified before the grand jury to previous sexual experiences.
Oh, all right.
Granted that you have this interest in young girls. Wasn't an incident like the one that happened more or less bound to happen eventually?
I forgive you, Roman. She testified at 13. Well, you got her.
Looking back at it, it probably was bound to happen, yes.
Tell us why you weren't here Friday.
The case attracted intense scrutiny, and Lawrence Rittenband, the judge hearing the case, was not adverse to publicity.
But it was to be no less than the full period of 90 days.
In outrageous backroom deals concocted by the judge, Polanski pleaded guilty to the lesser charge of unlawful sexual intercourse.
Furnishing drugs to a minor, lewd and lascivious acts upon a child, unlawful sexual intercourse, rape by use of drugs, perversion. Could you imagine, speaking of this, Kathy Scott, could you imagine the prison justice that would be unleashed on him? Getting any of this? Right? I mean, he's running around could you imagine him in prison? With this
no,
is like
because he would never have gone to prison.
Well, prison justice, right? This is like when the guy who kills a family of 4 is judging the pedophile, is like this is like considered lower in the prison justice system among the inmates.
The lowest apparently is this and killing your child.
Right.
Course with a minor, and was ordered to undergo 90 days psychiatric evaluation in prison.
Mr. Polanski, do you have any statements at all?
That beauty mark on his face really does it for me.
Yeah, and the mullet, Polak hockey hair.
Prison.
Mr. Polanski, do you have any statements?
Polish Olympic hockey team.
When Polanski did go to jail, you said you felt nothing.
Well, I didn't want him to go to jail. I mean, I didn't, I don't know. I don't.
Is how they get it.
People wonder why I didn't want him to go to jail, and it's like, well, is that going to take back what he did? How does that help me for him to go to jail? So I wasn't interested in him going to jail.
It's called consequences. So people looking at this could learn from that and realize that there's consequences, that it wouldn't happen.
Send a message.
Again. She can't possibly do the to send a message, as Sarah said. That doesn't even occur to her, that the consequences that people see, that no one is above the law, as they say. That
In the
doesn't ever occur to
70s,
her.
the late 70s would have been an awesome time to send a message to Hollywood.
That's right.
But this
That's
judge
right.
got his pockets padded.
You got at it early enough, so there is no Weinsteins, and there is.
Well,
That's
I don't know about
exactly
that,
right.
but
Well,
they,
I'm saying, like, it would at
there'd be
least lessen it.
precedents for punishment.
Lauren Marie goes, a high school classmate's father catfished me when the internet first started. So this is like the mid to late 90s, and getting popular in those AOL chat rooms. God, remember that? I thought I was meeting someone my own age, and this parent showed up. Terrible. God damn it, Lauren. That's traumatizing. That's
Well,
crazy.
I had the sleepover story too.
Oh, yeah.
The father of the girl who was having the sleepover, tells me, he can see through my nightgown, and was just sitting on the couch watching all of us. We're maybe 8. So I called my dad and I got the hell out of there.
Some people have no self-control. I mean, that's the early days of the internet. I mean, even now, it's not like it's that much better now. That was what the anonymity, and that was the first instinct that the creeps went on, that had that, like, oh my God, they're not going to see me. That was just a breeding ground of that ilk that was going to that. That was when, like, before, the cyber police was instituted, and the FBI would, these, Chris Hansen sting operations.
Why was he in Germany? When he should have been working hard in a movie.
But others were.
Sue Monster goes, there's not enough money in the world to make me do this interview.
After only 42 days.
Thank God you have your price, Sue
photographed
Monster.
in Germany at a beer fest, there was a public outcry. Judge Rittenband, intent on maintaining a tough image, sought the advice of journalists. And again,
Kathy Scott goes, I'd still be fuming. Would you ever forget this on it? It would never go. 10 minutes would go by where I wouldn't think about it. There's really dumb things I think about every 10 minutes. Imagine this was in your history. I mean, I think about 21 Jump Street every 10 minutes. You think if this was in my head, I would ever let this go?
tried to do a backroom deal for Polanski to serve more jail time. But in a move no one saw coming, Hollywood's most famous director fled the country.
That's the real plane, too. Sometimes these documentaries do a great job of making you think that's the real footage of him fleeing to. That's pretty good. That's a good edit.
Well, I like that they think we don't know what this means when he fled the country. So
Yeah.
they have to show us a plane.
Well, it's like anything else. It's like just a non-disclosure agreement to me, it's an admission of guilt. I did it. You can't talk about it because that's the truth, and I can't have you speaking the truth. I did it. Non-disclosure agreement. It's an admission that I did it. Delaying the trial is I did it. I'm thinking of an excuse to get out of this. I did it. Ida Greenback goes, Nicholson has been married. Angelica Houston was his partner for a really, really long time. I believe she had horrible plastic surgery. Look at her before and after. She does look strange. She had a big career for a while. Some stories I could tell you. I don't know. Could you imagine the stories Kathy Scott has for Lori Allison Depp, who is obsessed with prison? The reason Polanski ran away is he didn't go to prison. I mean, he was with Angelica Houston for 17 years, says Ida Greenbacks, and had several partners. Was only married once to a broad named Sandra Knight. The son that I see at the Laker game sitting in his seat and next to him in the Western Conference Finals, is he the son of Sandra Knight or is he the son of Angelica Houston? I wonder. We don't know anything about this son.
And at that time, I thought it was.
I told the parent immediately that I was uncomfortable and I wanted to walk away. And he said, hey, when you're older, you'll handle this a lot better. And I never told anyone at the time because I was mortified. Yeah, there's just how would you that they even exist? I wouldn't. How could you look at your classmates? I'd never trust the internet again. That would be that is the word. I mean, I know it's not you had a real life version of that, Sarah. And I don't even think you're telling us the whole thing. That you're probably holding back in some ways. And who could blame you? Men are creeps, Lauren Marie.
What's scary, too, is there's a lot of women, too, that do this. But it's looked at as sexy by men. Like these teachers that are seducing these students. Oh, I wish I had her when I was a student.
Yeah, the guys that somehow if it's a female doing it, you're not guilty. That's A-okay. We're high-fiving if it's a 15-year-old boy with a 38-year-old woman. Some amount of creeps. Listening to this makes my stomach hurt. I agree with you, Lauren. I'm gonna end this soon because of it. Even though it's
From a point of endure it, and I just left, as you know. That was quite a splash.
You understood Roman Polanski fleeing.
Yes, but I was just glad that he had left and now there wouldn't be a trial and this was no longer hanging over my head.
When he says there was quite the splash,
decision to run
it's too bad
would
it
affect
wasn't
both
into a vat of
Polanski
acid.
and his young victim for the next 36 years and forge a most unusual connection.
Your relationship with Roman Polanski now.
You can see the Napoleonic hubris that he had in that interview, right? That's how you go on in general, but that's how you go on to make more movies and think it's okay because, I mean, that's the level of hubris you're looking at, Sarah, that he doesn't have. There's no consequences in his world or accountability that you could see how now you could see it by watching that original interview we just watched, that he really, the ego and the Napoleonic complex is so high. That's how you think you're just going to continue to make movies like nothing happened. You don't even feel it. You don't even think about it. It's an unaccountability creep factor that you couldn't possibly relate to on any. It's a different species of creeper. I can't defend Depp, says Kaula. I can't. It's gross. Polanski is a family guy. That's even more gross. Oh, she said, I can't believe Depp defended him. Believe it. I just played it for you. I'm not doctoring anything. I would love to not believe it or see it or believe I play it or see it again. There's no mistaking it. There's no out of context. He defended him full stop and on Letterman too, which I played last time.
Now is an interesting one.
Well, we don't really have a relationship, but we have a lot of things in common.
You have contact, though.
It's a strange bond that we have been forced to share.
After so many years of reliving the nightmare, Samantha Geimer now views the attack and her attacker in a different light.
What is Roman Polanski? Is he a rapist? Is he a sex offender? Is he a pedophile?
Yes.
I would say, he's a man that made a really bad mistake.
Just once.
I would never call him a pedophile. You could.
Now, what you said obviously that's the only time. Like, we know this happened over and over again.
Yeah.
And this Rob Lowe thing I'm going to play right after
Just a mistake.
I'm going to show you that it's more.
All right. Somebody asked what his sentence was. He was sentenced to 90 days of evaluation at a psychiatric facility. However, when Polanski's attorney told him that the judge was determined to see him rot in prison for 50 years, that's when he took off.
Call him a sex offender. That would be fair. But
not a rapist?
I don't think so. I mean, it was just...
He raped you?
Well, yes, but he didn't, I don't know. I mean,
The interviewer...
Yeah.
From this is Australian 60 Minutes. Leave it to the Aussies to come up with this. Like their 60 Minutes is actually like better than ours. They have like more hard hitting pieces. It seems like. She's looking at him like, I can't believe. Do I have to spell? She can't believe this woman's not more outraged. She's just like she's kind of grimacing at her, and she doesn't know how to. You almost want to get angry at her in a way. Like if you're her, you're sort of like, what?
I know. I'm conflicted.
I wonder if she ends this by going, well, you paid off, because that's immediately what anybody, I mean, like, or maybe you wouldn't think of that, but I wonder if before we end this, she says, were you paid off?
When you call somebody that, you're kind of painting an image in your mind of something that he is not. This was a one-time thing. This is
like
not
Tarantino.
The way he lives his life.
And if he's not a pedophile,
he told you that?
Why did he do it then?
Well, I mean, for me, if I'm thinking, you say someone's a pedophile, that means it's this repeated bad behavior, and maybe you're not 13 going on 14.
Panie panowie, Roman Polanski.
Gross.
America is still seeking Polanski's extradition. 4 years ago, he was arrested in Switzerland, but US authorities failed in their bid to have him returned. Polanski has written an apology to Samantha. Now believes he should be left alone.
That was the incident Depp was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
How they had that sting operation with.
Yeah, that's creative though. They fed his ego and said, "Hey, there's a lifetime achievement award waiting for you."
You're gonna get maybe the
he
Deppies
shows
could do
up.
that.
Oh, God bless America! I'm waving my flag right now.
Tell him he got a Deppy, Sarah, in the next award show.
Oh God, he knocks on my door. I'd have him arrested again.
No, I feel better about it now. 36 years,
Studio
a lot happens in life, and I'd rather face it and answer to it.
The victim defending the criminal, one whose jail time has been minimal, is difficult to understand.
It was frightening to try and hide.
But Samantha Guymer is 50 years old, and Polanski is 80. It's now time, she says, to move on.
You have forgiven him?
Sure. I mean, that wasn't a hard thing to do. I don't think I picked some moment to do that, but you know, I think it's important to be forgiving.
Say again, Sarah?
It's just a one-time thing. So let him babysit your daughter or your grandchildren.
Well, that's what the interview should be doing, is as asking pushback scenarios, just like you just said. So let me get this straight. This is your daughter. She does it to her, and that's no big deal. It's a one-time thing. No big deal, right? That the same applies if this were your own kid. If you did, how would you possibly handle that question?
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It doesn't take much to ask her that. Well, who wouldn't be wondering that? It's a very obvious retort. Good God! And so in the comments
that
on
ticking
YouTube,
makes me feel old.
Yeah, doesn't it? And depressed. She was paid off. She was paid off. There's no way in hell you would there's no way. There's no way you could. There's nothing to gain by taking the high road here, unless you were paid off. And she clearly
I
has her
understand
price.
people are quick to forgive, quicker than I am, because I believe in vengeance, and
non-actor.
it would be mine. But this is weird.
So here's Rob Lowe. How much do you know about the original Rob Lowe thing, Sarah, with the Democratic convention where he was?
I know. I read it. I read this book.
It was with a 16-year-old he was 24.
I read this book on my Kindle. I even remember when I was camping at Crater Lake.
Rob Lowe is very candid about that, and he owns it and talks about it.
Yeah, but again, it's you're reading his words and you're remembering what he actually did. So you're like, okay, why did he get to skate on this like he did?
It's the power of celebrity. I mean, again, they didn't think 16 was, it was. I didn't. Again, this is the late 80s. I wasn't super aware of all the stipulations, but again, it would be interesting to go back and see just how a super legal team, right? I mean, he went on to star in many, many things after that.
You got to play George Stephanopoulos and whatever, The West Wing.
Oh, he was supposed to be based on Stephanopoulos.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't really watch The West Wing too much.
I didn't either. But...
Charlie Sheen's dad, isn't it?
The thought of you being on The Outsiders, where you have to audition in front of all these other actors, and then on Footloose, going in when you're not a dancer and going in with all these guys and having to do it, that would be the most frightening thing on this planet.
It was.
What is it, Gary? How dare you interrupt me?
He has to go.
Where do you go? What do you have to do? I didn't even get to Roman Polanski loading up a room with 15 girls.
Yeah, what are you doing? Where are you holding that story back?
That's why I had to write 2 books. There's too much to talk about.
By the way, you write these books yourself, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, and that's a challenge, isn't it? How long did it take you to write this book?
This
new one.
This book took me. I was doing 3 different TV series, and 4 movies, and raising 2 teenage boys with my wife. So it took me about just under 2 years.
What's the schedule to write? Do you write every morning?
No, schedule. I write when I can get some peace and quiet.
And do you ever worry that you don't have the story right because your memory isn't strong enough?
Rob Lowe's like, no, I didn't have Judith Regan and Ratso Sloman write in the book for me. I actually wrote my own book. I don't ghostwrite it with lies.
Did you keep journals and things like that in your?
No, I only write the things I remember, and the things that stay with me. I'll play my manager. I mean, look, there are things we remember.
Roman Polanski story. I'll do this real quick.
Single greatest line anybody ever told me, ever.
Polanski, I mean, has his problems, this and that, the other thing. You go to audition for a movie.
A movie called Pirates, which was going to be me and Jack Nicholson as pirates, and ended up being Walter Matthau and a guy who looked exactly like me.
Why not you?
I, to this day, do not know.
Do you know who that guy's name is?
He was he was a French guy who looked just like me and spoke French.
But the interesting part of it is Polanski takes you in a room and he says, here's 15 naked girls and pick
Well, they
one.
weren't naked yet. What it was, and again, I was...
So he's got Jack Nicholson and Rob Lowe and 15 naked girls. Now, knowing what we know now based on Ms. Geimer's they were obviously underage. Right? I mean, in his interview, right? I have all these girls underage around me, quote unquote models.
Does he say underage though?
He didn't say it, but he doesn't have to.
Girls sometimes
he doesn't have to. We know how he operates. This is 1986, 85. You don't think they were illegal? There was no way they were legal.
I don't know for sure until he says it though.
I was probably 18 years old.
Jesus.
First time in
He's 18.
Europe. I go to audition. He takes me to a dinner.
This guy's whacked out of his skull.
And he's Roman. You know, he's Roman, interesting. Right. And there's 20 amazing models, and I've got one on this side and one on this side, and I'm still a dweeb that knows nothing about how to close, literally nothing. And I'm talking to one, and I'm talking to other, and I see Roman getting really agitated, and finally he grabs me and he says, "Let me talk to you." He says, "You must make up your mind, or you will end up jerking off." Single greatest piece of advice
my God.
I've ever read.
Well, you were trying to be nice to everyone.
Yes, I was keeping my options open.
It's unbelievable. You know, and Rob, I know you got to go, and I know.
Is there any doubt they were not legal?
I don't know.
Speculate. Just use your brain.
I understand why
Knowing
you're
what
saying
you
to
know
Roman
now.
Polanski, yes, of course, but I don't know that they were.
There would be no way for Rob Lowe to know that.
He's
Even though
brushing over it.
He's got his own history. This predates his scandal. Believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
This is before that. This is 4 or 5 years before that. God damn it. I am ill, Lauren Marie. I agree with you. I feel my skin is crawling. Sarah, happy birthday. We all know it's smart ass. Welcome.
Way to celebrate my birthday.
Yeah, that's a great way, right? Nice little ebullient happy birthday statutory rape celebration like one is wont to have, right? Like you've always begged us to have for you. Happy birthday, Sarah. Happy birthday from the Polanski family.
No, thank you, Roman.
Happy birthday, Sarah.
We all make mistakes, Roman. I understand.
I shouldn't even be fake laughing at that. I shouldn't even be.
Are you saying you fake laugh every time?
No, I mean like nervous laugh. I meant nervous laugh. We're all gonna need a shower after this, says smart as after this stream. I feel so gross right now. Don't forget 9/11. Don't ever forget this. This is and this is what Depp's giving a pass to. I cannot believe a guy who is thank you, Lauren Marie.
Thank you, Lauren Marie.
Thank you, Lauren Marie. Happy birthday, Sarah. She got a little birthday cake there. Made from Costco. Costco is the best bakery department.
Put 45 candles on that cake.
That's the new John Hughes movie, 45 Candles.
Yeah.
Sarah and Rob Lowe.
I do want to remind, thank you everybody for the donations. We love you all, appreciate it more than you could ever know. Just a reminder, the Venmo has now been born. It is now up and operating apparently because it's been working through the stream. We hit our goal. I love you all again. We will see you next week.
Oh, my Islander Center, Wayne Merrick, for Christ's sake. Welcome, Josh Foster at the buzzer over here. Always, I'll take any Josh I can get, even if it's at the last second. Okay, yes, our Seinfeld watch along commentary, which is massive, was 3 hours and 39 minutes at 3:37.
Seems to be average for that.
Yeah, with David and I, that's episode 3. Anybody wants to sit in, let us know for any of our shows, whether it's Jump Street 90210 or Golden Girls. We're gonna have David's theme as the opening for your Golden Girls too. The Golden Girls, was it Golden Girls 2,000 future, whatever, it's 2,500 Golden Girls of the future. He did that kind of, it's like Mars Attacks meets Golden Girls. That's a great theme. Anyway, Sarah, again, John O'Reilly says, please bring the Cash App next week and happy birthday.
I will. I'm not 100% sure on what the @ is on that, so I will have it next week.
Thank you, Ida Greenbacks. Please, if you see an episode to your liking, we would love to hear from you to sit in with. God knows you deserve it. And God knows, I'm sure you have phenomenally insightful things to say about any of the shows we are watching.
And Arm leads it. It makes it very easy to do a show with.
Well, you lead Golden Girls.
No, I think it's 50-50.
We're still not sure what my role is in 90210. Everyone's talking about that. They're not sure.
We're getting through the shitty episodes. You're the filler until I can get to some better episodes that people want to sit in on.
Anyway, Sarah, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
This has been. Can we call this fun?
No, but you do put together a good show every week. So
I can't believe it took me this long to get at those interviews, because it's way worse than I thought. I mean, I was creeped out last week. Now I'm in a worse state. I really don't know. Yeah, I'm literally going to take a shower for several reasons, but that's
send pictures. We'll put them on our OnlyFans.
I don't need more motivation to take a shower. Now I have more. Anyway, Sarah, happy birthday. We love you at the Deppening family. We will see you on, I don't know what's going on with Radio Gunk this week. Whatever went on tonight, if it did, it's the oddest miscommunication I've ever had in the history of this show.
Well, I don't think you would have been enjoying a Beth Fashion show. Apparently that's what it was about. So
we had a little Howard on this in the creepiest way possible. Anyway, Sarah, happy birthday from your Deppening family.
Thank you.
Moo! 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 I'm a loser! Eh?
Sit down. Stay where you are. For the first time, I choose to walk out on you.
Or 21 Jump.